Welcome back, guys. Wow, today's game day. Nebraska and Michigan. Big Ten matchup between two blue bloods, one of whom has struggled in recent years, and another who needed to get over the hump and has done so recently in Michigan. Game's not on yet, but it will be soon enough in a few minutes. And Colorado USC is a game that's on right now that I'm paying attention to. Welcome in. Think you guys can hear me. Getting everything just set up. Perfect. Okay. So welcome in, everyone. How are y'all doing? Go big royal blue. That's awesome. Noetic justice. That's sweet. Yeah, go blue. Go big red until after this game is done. Go big red. Seriously. But go blue today. I really need Michigan to come forth and win here. It is 3:29. At 3:30, I am gonna turn it over. But yeah. What's up, Sam? Says amazing 768 LOL. You say you're chilling. It's basically what I'm doing here. I went to the bathroom, drank some water, I had some pizza for lunch. Just normal college football Saturday stuff. USC's defense looks pathetic, and their offense, as much as people like their offense, I don't think they can put games away, even, against good teams. Right now against Colorado, Caleb Williams just got sacked. His O-line, critical spot, just gave up a sack. They get a touchdown, that game's over. It's just interesting. Other verse, go big red, go blue. Like this video, do me a favor and, like the video and share it around so that we can get a massive watch party. I'd like to have around 100 concurrent viewers if possible. I don't know how likely that is, but liking the video will certainly help get this one up into the algorithm and higher in the search bar. So USC is going to try a 39-yard field goal, and they get it. So 51-34 is what the score is right now. He missed it. What? He missed it? Wow. He missed it. Holy cow. Let me see this. What the? Oh, he did. Oh my gosh. What? No. Oh my. Wow. That's ridiculous. That's anti-clutch in the highest level. That's bad. So yeah, USC is struggling to pull away from the same team that got splattered everywhere by Oregon. Newsflash, I think USC is the sixth best team in the Pac-12. I think they're very, very overrated. Thank you, Kate Ezra. But Colorado doesn't have the O-line. I mean, they've had nearly 200 rushing yards today, but USC's defense has enough talent to just, do what they need to do. I don't expect Colorado to win. They've used all their timeouts already. They need to get down the field very quickly and get an onside kick, but they're going to cover, I think, like I predicted. I mean, USC would have to get 9 more points to cover the spread, and I don't think they're going to do that. That was a perfect play call, a draw for Shadur. But yeah, Michigan, Nebraska is going to begin. It's going to begin at just about any moment. I'm going to look on my Roku. See, shoot, no, that's not what I wanted. Okay. Okie dokie. Yeah, I'm now browsing for the Michigan Nebraska game because that's about to be on at any moment. But what? That's just crazy to me, in all honesty. USC, Colorado at one point, I think they're 4 of 6 on 4th down. It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Noetic Justice, Northwestern had me wondering in that first half. Um, I get that. At the end of the day, ultimately, look, Penn State was not going to lose that game. I think that that game is proof that, all the Big Ten East teams have had their struggles. Penn State's not unique in that regard. Neither is Michigan, neither is Ohio State. I thought Penn State was the third best team in the Big Ten entering that game, and now exiting this game, I still think that. We'll see how Michigan looks today. Ohio State, at worst, is going to be the second best team in the Big Ten after today. At best, they'll be the first. They'll be the best. So it just depends. Brownie College Football, what's up? How are you doing? I'm doing good. Michigan, Nebraska won't be airing until after Colorado USC is done. So, yeah. Okay. 4 minutes left in this game, and Colorado is converting, doing enough to just stay in it. Yeah, this game won't begin until that one's over, because it said starting soon. I definitely believe that because it's on, Fox, same networks. So they're going to push this game back for a little bit. That's okay. 3 minutes, 40 seconds left, and there's no timeouts for Colorado. So this game's going to be over in like 10 minutes. If it goes to overtime now, that would be insane. Valiant effort by Colorado. Really. USC, I think this game has, like I said in my preview video, although it didn't happen exactly what I expected, I think this has exposed USC's defense a bit. Oh, wow, 60 concurrent viewers, 13 likes. That's pretty incredible. Keep it going. Hey, Dion, go blue and especially go big red. For me, it's go big red and especially go blue. May the best team win. I hope that my team dominates. You know that you hope your team, gets an upset or they can dominate if that's possible. Yeah, the best team win. Lanny, USC's defense has them in trouble this year. It seems when they play good teams, their hopes are going to be just to outscore them. Yeah, this defense is very on and off. It either gets a sack, a TFL, like they almost did now, or they're just, awful. Like what happened right there was an example of that. And Colorado has ridiculously good receivers, too. A top 10 wide receiver core, certainly when healthy. But USC's defense is just, it's bad. It really is bad. That was also an amazing catch there by number 14 for Colorado. I don't have the depth chart in front of me for Colorado, USC, but I will for Nebraska, Michigan. So I'll try and, call out players. It'll be easier for me to do that with Michigan, Nebraska. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy, honestly. Like looking, I haven't had USC in my top 10 for the whole season, and this is why. Oregon looks better. Washington looks better. Oregon State, I think, looks better. Utah might be worse just because, Utah is the opposite. Their offense is not good. Their defense is great, but I trust Kyle Whittingham more than I trust Lincoln Riley. And I think Washington State is another team who I think is, so far, they look better coached by their assistants than USC does. I mean, look at how wide open he was. That was Jimmy Horn Jr. Colorado, it's a 7-point game now. It's 48-40. It's just ridiculous. I mean, they have to get an onside kick. That's the thing. Because Colorado doesn't have any of their timeouts. They have to get the onside kick. Lincoln Riley's furious, but who cares, Lincoln? Your defense has been horrible for years. Who cares? You're probably gonna win this game. I don't think Colorado's special teams unit is that good. Just is what it is. Yeah, 48-41. Colorado's definitely gonna cover. Good news for me. I picked Colorado to lose by 11. It looks like they're gonna lose by 7. So that was a good prediction by me and also Key, who came on my live Friday. He thought that Colorado was going to at least cover, but that USC was going to win. That was a good pick. Nice pick by Josh Pate as well. I know Pate And I think Corn Craze, too. I believe Corn Craze picked Colorado to cover because he agreed with me that SC's defense is just bad, characteristically. Brownie College Football, I'm hoping Darius Taylor will be back for the Michigan game. Then we can show him off to the SEC team that will pick him up in the portal next year. National TV. I don't know if he'll enter the portal. He's going to be the starting running back at Minnesota, and they're going to run him. I mean, he's going to get yards at Minnesota. But he may want to play in a system where he gets less carry, so he's healthy. But he looks good. I hope he gets healthy as soon as possible for Minnesota. You escaped Louisiana. I think you pushed the spread. Let me check. Yeah, you won by 11. You were favored by 11. So you pushed. It happens. Georgia Auburn just kicked off. I think Georgia will win. I think Georgia will cover. If you are on my Patreon, and I encourage that you at least check it out, I am posting about my power rankings. My power rankings picked Auburn to cover and only lose by 14. So if you want to follow the journey of the power rankings, be my guest. USC recovered the onside kick. That's game over. We'll very quickly be on Michigan, Nebraska here. So USC, unless they really mess things up, they'll win. Colorado will cover. Not going to be a good game. I mean, nice comeback effort from Colorado. They outscored USC 27-14 in the second half. Ultimately, USC, as we knew, was the much superior team. You got to be wondering to yourself. Yeah, Cade Ezra, USC's defense is this bad. It's horrible. It's a bad defense. It's a bad defense. They either sack you, they tackle you for a loss, they force a turnover, or they allow big plays. That's how bad the defense is. I mean, look at this. Colorado had 193 rushing yards, averaging 4.3 yards per carry. Who's let Colorado run the ball that much? The answer is no one. No one. No one's let Colorado run the ball that much. They nearly had 200 rushing yards. It's ridiculous. And, Marshawn Lloyd and USC's ground game, they had only rushing for 4 yards per carry on Colorado ain't that good either. I mean, USC has some problems on their offensive line. Colorado sacked Williams twice. They got a few TFLs. USC is really... It's fascinating. In my mind, they have 2018 Oklahoma's offense, they look like 2018 Oklahoma, if I'm being really honest, except they're playing in a much tougher conference and they're still not built as well. Nice handshake by Deion Sanders and Lincoln Riley, both wearing, tinted shades. Very good outfits for them both. Yeah. USC 5-0 start for the second consecutive season, first time since 2005-2006. Ultimately, I just think this USC team's probably going to go 9-3 or 10-2. If not, I think it's more likely they go 8-4 than 11-1. That might be a bold take, a hot take. USC's not good. From the sense of what we envision a standard Lincoln Riley team to be. They're good. They're a great team nationally, but from the expectation of, a Lincoln Riley team of USC and the talent they have, it's ridiculous. I mean, look, Fox is saying, USC, the fourth team in the history of the Pac-12 to score 42 or more points in the first 5 games. Well, Fox, what you ignore is that this defense allowed 28 to Drew Pine in Arizona State, and they allowed 41 to a Colorado team that didn't score that many points on anyone except for TCU in regulation. They scored 43 versus Colorado State in overtime. It's a bad defense. That is a bad defense. In my mind, more importantly, college football nerds' mind before this game even began, they said Colorado had the better defense, or at least it was a more efficient defense. I totally believe that after watching this game. Colorado has no trench play whatsoever. They have their D-line's not good. Their O-line is horrific, horrendous. Their linebacker core, And defensive back room without with Trevor Woods being banged up in this game and also Travis Hunter being out isn't deep. And I think they're more efficient with the talent they have compared to USC's defense. I think by a mile. Jack Grogan, no Jalen Daniels for Kansas. That stinks. Also, Nebraska, Michigan is on. I don't know what's, it just kicked off. So we're on here. I don't know why it's, on the ads. I think it just cut to commercial break. But it is what it is. Okay. So, go blue. I'm hoping that Michigan destroys Nebraska, but that's just me. I'm a Michigan fan. I'm going to try my hardest to be level-headed and provide good commentary, but as a Michigan fan, it will be hard for me to not be frustrated if my team does something stupid. Offensively, defensively, or if Nebraska's playing a really good game. That'd be hard. Advertisements are annoying. Nebraska versus Michigan on Fox Cable. Okay. Yeah, it's transitioning over right now because USC Colorado just ended. So, yeah. Okay. That'll be on very shortly. Here, I know the game's going on, but I have YouTube TV. I don't have cable. I'm nervous. Heinrich Harburg can run, and even though Michigan on paper should, beat this team by more than 3 touchdowns and cover the spread, we don't know if that'll actually happen. Brownie College Football, Michigan is due for a blowout victory. We'll see. I hope that's the case, but we'll have to see. Nebraska's defense is tough. Okay, it looks like... Oh, come on. It's just more ads. I think they're just trying to catch up with everything. Yeah, because for ESPN right now on the gameplay, everything's paused. So I'm thinking they're just resetting everything and transitioning things. Alrighty, this is getting frustrating. Okay, come on. Well, right now, Michigan has 23 yards, and 18 of them are rushing. 5 of them are passing. Oh, here we are. Okay, it looks like it's a little behind, which stinks. But bear with me. Okay, so it's 3rd and 1 at the Michigan 48. I imagine Michigan's just going to try and, run it up the middle and try and convert it because that's what they do. It's actually something they're very good at. This year, their O-line several times has been in these short situations, and they've, stood up, moved forward, standing strong. Okay, come on. I know I'm a little behind, so again, bear with me. Oh, that's easy. Easy push. Corum gets about 4 yards. First down, Michigan. Yeah, that helps me stand a little taller or sit a little higher. Yep, they got the first down. Okay, a lot of people overreacted to Oregon State's loss. I'm going to answer comments during commercial breaks, okay? While the game's going on, I'm just going to be watching the game. That's all I'm going to be doing. Yeah, McCarthy right now looks like he's getting into rhythm. Obviously, this is Michigan's first drive of the game. Jim Harbaugh doing his classic mouth open stare on the sidelines. But McCarthy is a quarterback who gets better as time goes on. And I think we're seeing right now that throw a little behind Edwards and the fact that he's throwing shorter balls, he's just trying to get warmed up at this very moment. Edwards motions back in. Michigan is just in tight formation. They're going to hand it off. Edwards jitterbugs, and he gets forward about a gain of 4. It's going to be 3rd and 3. 3rd and 3. This environment's loud. It's 93 degrees at 37% humidity and winds of 19 miles per hour. So this game is going to test Michigan's conditioning. It's going to also test Nebraska's conditioning because right now Michigan's running on this defense pretty successfully. I wonder if they'll try and run here. They're in another tight formation. They do run, and Corum does not get it. It's going to be 4th and 1. 4th and 1. If you're Michigan, you're going to be going for this. Looks like Michigan will probably try and go for it. I imagine they do. Texas A&M beating Arkansas by 12. Clemson's beating Syracuse by 17. Georgia is in a 4th and 2 spot on the Auburn 48. And here we go. Again, we're a little behind here on my end, so we'll have to see. Yeah, they run it, and Corum easily gets it. Gain of 3. So Michigan, they're already chewing up around 5 minutes of clock, and they're driving. Converted a 4th down, few 3rd downs here and there. They're willing to run for 4 yards per carry if it means they wear down Nebraska's defense. 1st and 10 at the Nebraska 37. The offensive line's getting a good push right now. Michigan, they have 3 receivers out, and then they have number 44. I think that's Max Bredesen lined up in a fullback position. And behind Bredesen, it looks like they have Edwards. And Edwards gets forward for about an 8-yard gain. So that Michigan rushing offense, it struggled in its first 4 games at times, but it looks like, in this game at least, at this current moment, there's some rhythm going on, and that's very good. It's very encouraging. I see that Texas is already, unleashing its anger on Kansas. That's very sad. I want the Jayhawks to win, but that won't happen. Okay, 2nd and 2. McCarthy's only tried 3 pass attempts. They're not making him throw a whole lot yet. 2nd and 2, but McCarthy's going to drop back. He fakes. He has all the time in the world to throw. They dropped in max protect, and a catch! Touchdown! Roman Wilson, that's a touchdown catch. He caught that on the back of the helmet of a Nebraska defender. Wow. Touchdown reception of 29 yards. Michigan carves up Nebraska's defense and takes 5 minutes and 40 seconds off the clock. And that number 2, who was guarding Roman Wilson, being Isaac Gifford. Wow. That's crazy. That's awesome. Okay, so Michigan 6, Nebraska nothing. That's the current score right now of this game. Michigan drove down. They took time off the clock. It's very good if you're Michigan. 75 yards, 4 first downs, 5 minutes of TOP, and that's awesome. Roman Wilson now is his 7th receiving touchdown of the season. That's phenomenal. Okay, James Turner on for the extra point. Tommy Doman is going to hold it. Snap's good, hold is good, and extra point's good. 7-0 Michigan. Nebraska will get the ball for their first drive, and we will see what I expect to be a vaunted rushing offense that comes out. So, thoughts on first drive. Michigan's O-line looks great. That drive was as efficient as you can be. If Michigan does this for the rest of the game, they win, plain and simple. Nautic Justice, 0 pressure, inexcusable. That was also a circus catch. Yeah, he had all time in the world. I don't know why Tony White called no pressure, but when you see that Michigan was able to run the way that they were, even with Edwards, Corum, and McCarthy, to start this drive, you wonder that if White's thinking, pass defense is more important than run defense. I don't know. That was a weird play call because only 2 people went forward. That's max protect. And Michigan was still able to get a passing touchdown. Isaac Gifford wasn't able to turn around. That was a risky pass that could have been picked off by a better defensive back. Deion Pryor, well, we are done. Congrats, Michigan. Let's end it now. Remember, Nebraska had a really good drive against Northwestern last year in Dublin, Ireland. And then Northwestern ended up winning because it was a rock fight. So don't give up. We'll just have to see. That looked really good, but look, teams can start hot and then it gets groggy and it gets muddy and it gets dirty for the rest of the game. So let's just see, honestly. Yeah. Okay. So here we are. Also, every time a quarter ends, there will be an ad break, just so I can get a glass of water, so I can rest for a few seconds and then return. Oh, wow. Auburn's in Georgia territory. 6:47 left in the first quarter. Scary. If Auburn beats Georgia, that would be stunning. That'd be crazy, to say the least, if Auburn ends up beating Georgia. I don't think it will happen, but it's possible. Auburn does have the defense to limit Georgia's offense. Nebraska's no defense. No, look, Michigan has elite potential on offense. Michigan legitimately could be the best offense in the nation if they maximize their potential. They have the talent on O-line at running back, tight end. Roman Wilson at wide receiver might be an elite wide receiver, and we're just not seeing it. And McCarthy has elite potential at quarterback. Look, Michigan is really good. I know people don't. They look at Michigan's scores and they think this team ain't good on offense. Or they look at Michigan under Jim Harbaugh and they think Michigan will never be an offensive team. This team has so much talent on offense. They could score, if they really tried, I think they could score 20 at least. More so 30 or 35 points on any defense if they wanted to. Now, at the same time, there's like Ohio State's offense or Washington's offense who could do something probably greater if they utilize their talent. But Michigan's offense is really good. I don't think it should be underestimated by anyone. But here comes Heinrich Haarberg. Heinrich Haarberg is someone who loves Nebraska football. He bleeds Nebraska football. And he's starting here. And he's been to they're actually showing him a photo where he was at the Big House as a fan. Look, for him, I hope he starts for the rest of the year because I want to see Nebraska be successful. I obviously want Michigan to just destroy them here. They're going to start with a run. Michigan, I think Anthony Grant only gets about a 2-yard gain. Anthony Grant runs for 1 yard. A 1-yard gain, according to ESPN. Okay, so if you're Nebraska, you want to run the ball, you have to get Heinrich Haarberg involved in the run because if you don't, Michigan is not going to lose to a one-dimensional team. It's never going to happen. It won't happen here. You need to run with Haarberg, with Grant. You also need to pass situationally. Michigan is just, they're pressing all of Nebraska's receivers. Tipped in the air and picked off. Chris Jenkins picks it. Kenneth Grant. Kenneth Grant picks it off. Michigan tips it in the air and intercepts Heinrich Haarberg. And they're in Nebraska territory. Who was it tipped by? It was tipped by number 17 on Michigan. Number 17 being Braden McGregor, the edge. And Haarberg, that wasn't his fault whatsoever. That was really his offensive line. Maybe he could have thrown it higher, but what a play. What a play by Braden McGregor there. Music for me, 007. I told you, Sam, this would get ugly early. We'll have to see. But Michigan has the ball. And Nebraska's defense has already been on the field for almost 6 minutes. McCarthy, he's going to hand it off to Corum. Corum has a lane, gets about a gain of 4. Nebraska fans, just calm down. I think we were all in agreement that Michigan was likely going to win this game, but this is just the first quarter as well. We've seen crazy things happen. 2nd and 6. 2nd and 6 for Michigan. They're at the Nebraska 25. McCarthy checks the play on the sidelines. Michigan has 3 receivers out, 4 actually, and then Corum in the shotgun with McCarthy. And Nebraska sends pressure, but Corum gets out of it, jitterbugs, and it's 3rd and really inches at the Nebraska 20. And Auburn's up 3-0 on Georgia. So yeah. Georgia's D-line lives up to its hype. Georgia, they have dogs, no pun intended. Ooh, ESPN's ahead. I'm not going to hide that there's some bad news coming. Okay, so Kalel Mullings in the backfield with McCarthy. Michigan in a very tight set. Nebraska's probably going to bring all the pressure in the world. Mullings gets it and has a lane, and Mullings is in for the touchdown, 20-yard run. Michigan 13, Nebraska 0. Wow. Well, I hope to see more of this for the whole game, but 13-0 very quickly. Nebraska's offense has a hard time already scoring that many points. Wow, that was a beautiful hole opened up by the O-line, and Mullings just broke tackles. It's great. And Michigan makes the extra point. So 14-0, Michigan with 7:15 left in the first quarter. 7:15. Michigan now with 7 minutes and 4 seconds of possession, over 100 yards. Michigan right now, they already have 67 yards on the ground. That's more than Nebraska averages allowed in a game. So Michigan's running offense is being very successful right now. Very successful. We only have 63 concurrent viewers now. I'm assuming, sadly, a lot of those are Nebraska fans or people who were looking forward to, watching a live game, and instead they found, this guy with a scoreboard above his head just talking. What do y'all think so far about this week of college football in Week 5? Penn State struggled against Northwestern, but they pulled away. USC and Colorado. Colorado made a comeback attempt, but USC hung on. And outside of that, Kentucky destroyed Florida. And also Oregon State handled Utah. What do y'all think? I'll answer your questions here. Thank you guys for the 23 likes as well. I really appreciate it. All right, nice pull by the O-line. Marcus Aurelius Maximus. Wow, this might get ugly really fast. Okay, so someone's talking about Week 5. Anyone think Vandy can upset Missouri? Missouri's played several close games. I think Vanderbilt's going to cover because they do have somewhat of a pulse, but Vanderbilt's also horrible, so I think Missouri's going to win another game by 10, 9, 8, or 7 points. Yeah, I think Missouri's going to win. Noetic Justice, loving it all except this game, LOL. I hear you so far. This is Michigan so far. Looks like they're at their best offensively. Defensively, we've only seen like 2 plays from Nebraska, so we don't know yet. We don't know. Kentucky isn't a top 25 team. Both teams are overrated. I think Kentucky might be top 25. Florida, though, certainly not top 25, and I never have had them in my top 25 all year. I thought their win over Tennessee simply proved that Tennessee was overrated more than it said anything about the Florida Gators. Florida's not a good football team. I had them going 3-9 this season. They're probably going to go 4-8, 5-7, maybe 6-6. They're not going to be good. I mean, they're now 3-2, and they still have to face Georgia. They have to face LSU. Those are losses in my mind. LSU, I think, is the second best team in the SEC right now, but I think Georgia by far is the best. That's just me. Marcus Aurelius Maximus, USC has no defense. Accurate. It's totally accurate. The Trojans have absolutely no defense. one of the worst defenses in the country. Let me actually briefly check. Oh, also, this isn't, accurately loaded at this current moment. Yeah, Texas A&M destroyed Arkansas. Okay, so Michigan kicks it off 14-0, and they're going to let this bounce in the end zone for a touchback. USC so far in their 5 games has allowed 28, 14, 10, 28, and 41 points. And they have yet to face Notre Dame, Utah, Washington, Oregon, and UCLA, who all 5 of those teams have better offenses than the 5 teams that USC has played so far. Those being San Jose State, Nevada, Stanford, Arizona State. Colorado, I think they have a good offense, but I don't think it might be better than Utah's. But I have a feeling that if Rising gets back, I think this offense, and Kuthi, I feel like when healthy, Utah's offense is better than Colorado. So that's kind of an iffy one for me, but that's just my opinion. Kate Ezra, I think Kentucky is definitely a top 25 team, just not a top 20 team. I hear you right there. He also thinks that Florida's on the bubble of the top 25, which I disagree with. Auburn interception. What? Let me see this. Oh, 1st and 10 at the Georgia 40. That's fun. I hope Auburn wins. Even if it proves me wrong, I hope Auburn wins. Really do. I think Georgia right now is not a top 3 team. I have them at number 4. They have the potential to be number 1, but I think Ohio State, Michigan, and Washington are better and also have looked better than Georgia. And I think Penn State and Oregon are teams that have looked more impressive than Georgia. I'm just questioning whether they have the coaching and talent to be better than the Dogs. But look, week 5, like he said on the live stream, is going to separate the contenders from the foes and from the con men. And week 4 did that. And these weeks are very important. I mean, week 1 through 3 for a lot of teams, Michigan included, is like the preseason. It's just what it is. When Michigan faces no teams. Now, Rutgers was like the beginning of the actual season for Michigan, and this is Michigan's first test. Purdue up 6-3 versus Illinois with 5 minutes left in the first quarter. Watch that game only be field goals. That'd be crazy. Noetic Justice, as of right now, who do you think has the edge for winning the West? For me, this is pretty easy in my mind. Wisconsin. Wisconsin has a run game. Wisconsin has a top 10 head coach. They have a top 20 OC, and they have a top 10 DC. They have a great staff. They have talent. They had enough returning production from last year to have some cohesion. Their only loss is to a Washington State team who's 4-0, who beat Oregon State, probably a top 10 team in Oregon State, or top 15 at least. And they, handled Purdue. After a while, they finally handled Georgia Southern. Wisconsin, in my mind, is top 25 or top 20. Just think they're a very good football team. I didn't post my top 15 this week, I don't believe, so that's my bad. But next week, I'll post it. I have posted the top 10 video, though, entering week 5. I'm hoping it stays relatively the same. Okay, Nebraska tries a halfback toss. Only gets about a yard on the play. So Nebraska's run game, just through a few plays, hasn't been extremely successful. 7 minutes left in the first quarter. Michigan leads 14-0. Derek Moore, Cam Good, Rayshawn Benny. Got some young guys on the field. Michigan loves to rotate at defensive line. One of the best and deepest defensive lines in all of college football right now. Nebraska's still winding down the clock. This is going to be a pass, and it is going to be complete on the sidelines to Thomas Fidone. ESPN was, again, ahead of me on there. I don't know why I'm behind, but I'm just slightly behind. So, again, bear with me. That was a nice throw, wide open on the sidelines. Michigan being in zone coverage, and Fidone just found the hole in the zone. Good play. 1st and 10 at the Nebraska 40. Nebraska is a team much like Michigan that likes to enforce their will through time of possession. And Fedoni comes on the sidelines after making that catch. Nebraska's in a tight formation. I expect a run. It is going to be an option. Harburg keeps it, only gets about a gain of 2 on the ground. It'll be 2nd and 8 at the Nebraska 42. What you want to do if you're Nebraska is at least let your defense rest. That's what you want. You want to score, and you want to let your defense rest. Marcus Satterfield, the offensive coordinator for the Cornhuskers. Anthony Grant takes it up the middle for a gain of 3, ball be at the Nebraska 45. And from here, it's probably going to be a pass, but they could also run it as well. Michigan's given a 95.5% chance to win right now, according to FPI. So 3rd and 5 at the 45 for the Cornhuskers. We'll see where this all goes. Nebraska, look, their offensive line has improved from previous seasons, but it's just not, it looks more like a Big Ten offensive line than it has in a while. But they have a lot of work to do up there. This is year 1 under Matt Rule. And as much as that Colorado loss made people think, like, what's going on with college football? Okay, Harburg completes a pass. Wow. They found a hole there. And that was to Billy Kemp. Wow. That was a 34-yard pass to the Michigan 21 for a first down. Ugh. You don't want to see that if you're me. You don't want to see that whatsoever. That was nice time in the pocket. Michigan did go conservative. They sent only 4 people. Billy Kemp, though, he found space. He's the best wide receiver for Nebraska right now. He found space. Okay. So Harburg redeeming himself a little bit after that tipped interception, which was not his fault. Tight formation. They're going to hand it off on the jet sweep, and Billy Kemp only gets about a gain of 4, maybe 5 yards. Nebraska being in the red zone of Michigan now. So can they punch it in for 6? Can they? Or are they going to settle for a field goal? What are they going to do? All right. Okay, go blue. That's all I got to say for now. 2nd and 6 at the 17 of Michigan. 3 receivers out for Nebraska. They motion out Anthony Grant. They throw to him. Flag, though. Looks like it's going to be a false start. So it'll be 2nd and 11. Yup, false start on Nebraska. 2nd and 11. It was on Thomas Fedoni. So back to the Michigan 22. 2nd and 11. And Auburn leading. That's scary. Wow. So now 5 wide. Wouldn't be shocked if Harburg takes off on a quarterback draw here. The middle of the field is not exactly wide open, but there's a hole. There's space. I would not be shocked if Harburg took off on a quarterback scramble here. He's 2 of 3 for 48 yards and that 1 tipped interception. Michigan gets creative, sends pressure on the inside, but Harburg completes a pass for 7 yards. It's going to be 3rd and 4 on the Michigan 15. I wonder if Nebraska, if it's 4th and 4 or they get any yards, if they're going to go for it. I'd expect them to go for it here, just already being down 14. Nebraska's also milking the clock. This is, I think, been a 4 or 5 minute drive. They really want to rest that defense and get them psyched back up. Okay, 4th and 1. It's going to be 4th and 1. Janarian Bonner runs for about a 3-yard gain. Yup. 4th and 1. Nebraska's definitely going to go for it. Again, I'm behind, so bear with me, but just is what it is. Auburn 10-0. That's nuts, man. I mean, Auburn's better than Nebraska, but still, in my mind, that's kind of like sad, because they don't have an offense. I mean, A&M shut that team down. They really shut them down. Okay, so 4th and 1. Nebraska's 2 of 4 on 4th downs. I imagine, I hate that ESPN's ahead here. Yup, Michigan's not in position. They're going to QB sneak it. Or what they're going to do is they're going to run down the clock and they're going to reassess. Yup, timeout Nebraska. They're probably going to try for the field goal. They've burned clock. They've rested their defense. And Michigan's D-line, I don't know what Nebraska's going to do. They could still go for it coming out. I think that'd be the wise move because I don't think this Michigan offense is going to stop. I think you have to be aggressive. You got to go for it. Zero on the scoreboard can be demoralizing. That is a good point, Noetic Justice. My thought is I just don't know. You know, if it's 21-3, I mean, it's something. But you don't want to be down. I don't know. I think that Nebraska's in a position where they got to be aggressive and they got to have the near perfect game to win, like Corncrazed and I talked about. And having that pick already means they haven't had the perfect game. You got to compensate for that somewhere. Who knows? I think that there's a good argument for either. There's a good argument for taking the 3 because you have rested your defense. You can, say, okay, we're taking the 3. We'll see one more time if the defense can get a stop. And then if it's 21-3, you have to go for it on every 4th down. But we'll have to see. Nebraska already has not had the perfect start because Michigan had basically 2 drives in a row. Really is what happened. They're now about equal in TOP, but Michigan has that edge because they elected to receive, then they got the turnover. You got to be you got to be perfect from here on out if you're Nebraska, or Michigan has to be caught napping. Really. Okay, Georgia Auburn scores 10-0 Auburn. Auburn looks like they just had like a pretty. Was it a bad punt or did they try an onside kick? Looks like Peyton Thorne has had a good game on the ground. But that's crazy right now. It's really weird. Okay, Marcus Aurelius Maximus, smart play. Take the points. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what Nebraska decides to do coming out of that timeout. I'm still nervous as a Michigan fan because I've seen my team go up by 16 points on the road, aka against Michigan State, and I've seen them blow that lead. But I think this team's good. I had reasoning for picking them to win and cover the spread. We'll just have to see. It's 2nd and 2 at the Auburn 35, by the way, for Georgia. They're driving. Okie dokie. So it looks like they're going to line up again, and they're going to go for it. Yep, they're going to go for it. Harburg is back. He's back there. So I don't know if this is going to be a pass, if they believe in their O-line. They believe in their O-line, and Harburg is not going to get it. I don't think he's going to get the first down. I think Michigan stopped him. Yes, they did. Michigan football. They stopped him. I think. Or did they pick up the first? Yeah, they stopped him. So they went for it, and Michigan held their own. Holy cow. Brownie College football, Michigan State, I think, is the worst team in Nebraska. I just think Michigan's the best team in the country. So you can't. Yeah, I don't think this is going to be a first down. I don't think he got it. But I could be wrong. No, he's short. Michigan ball. You can't judge Nebraska off of this game unless Nebraska loses like 100-0. You really can't. I think Michigan, at least from my perspective, now if you had Michigan outside the top 4, maybe you can, but if Michigan's the number 1 team in the country, you'd expect them to do what they're doing right now, and really nothing less. Okay, so Michigan gets the stop on 4th and 1. They're at their own 12. 1st and 10, Michigan. So Nebraska rested their defense and got no points. Michigan's going to have to go on a long drive, though, if they want to score. And they have 88 yards to get to the end zone. Probably around, 55 yards if they want to get in good field goal range. McCarthy checks his play. Colston, Loveland, and 3 wide receivers are out there, and they're going to run it with Edwards, and Edwards gets about a gain of 3, gain of 2. Michigan, it'll probably be 14-0 entering the second quarter. It's encouraging if you're Nebraska to know that you can drive down the field, but not being able to get any points out of that is demoralizing. That's the risk you take by going for it on 4th and 1. I thought they should have QB snuck him. He has the power and the leg drive, and with a power back like Grant pushing him. Okay, so Michigan tries to run it again with Donovan Edwards. They're not getting anywhere. So Nebraska's defense is rested. I expect that, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 6. I expect this is going to be taken into the end of the first quarter. Michigan's going to come out with a passing play. Unless Michigan Michigan's going to the sidelines. This is the end of the first quarter. Michigan 14, Nebraska 0. Nebraska being able to hold Michigan to a 3rd and 7 and being able to get down the field. But outside of that, Michigan right now is controlling this game. But the Huskers are a very faithful fan base. The stadium's going to be loud for the whole game. So on this 3rd and 7, Michigan will face a challenge of some kind. I have no doubts about that. Okay, so back to the chat. What are we all thinking here? Nebraska doesn't have their identity with go-to moves yet. 4th downs when you could take cheap field goals instead aren't a safe bet. Huh. Interesting. I just thought it was weird. They had Harburg on the direct quarterback power, but 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Because Nebraska did get an initial push. The problem was it was short, it was quick. It was like the snap. It was a very bad snap. It was like the snap of a finger. If they QB snuck it, I think he would have gotten it, or he would have had a better chance. But I don't know. Maybe they thought that with his running and acceleration and his height and build, he would have had a downfield presence. But I don't know. It's also the end of the first quarter for Georgia-Auburn. Instead of Georgia being up on Auburn by double digits, Auburn's up on Georgia by double digits. A little bit of a different story. Although I think we can safely agree that Auburn is at least a slightly better team than Nebraska is. But Auburn's had their struggles. They didn't look good against A&M. They struggled on the road at Cal. Cal's not a good football team. Texas is up on Kansas, 10-0. Missouri's up 3-0 on Vanderbilt. Let's check some other scores around the country here. And then at halftime, we will do some trivia, much like we did between Ohio State and Notre Dame. So make sure you stick around for that, because that's going to be totally worth it. Okay. Let's check the chat. Jim Harbaugh is going to let JJ unleash one for 35-plus yards. Oh, I hope. I hope we get like a big pass, big long pass. Noetic Justice, yeah, you agree with me. The shotgun was a weird call. That was strange. Oh, wow. Okay, so some other scores around the country. California is only beating Arizona State 10-7. It's about to be halftime. Maryland's beating Indiana 21-3. I picked Indiana to cover. That looks pretty terrible. On my part. Rutgers is beating Wagner 10-0, but Wagner's in Rutgers territory. UCF's blowing out Baylor. Arkansas State's crushing Massachusetts. Very expected. Some other games. No other games for now that are of relevance. Some Boise State and Memphis, some of the better group of 5 teams. They're tied at 0-0, but Boise State's 3rd and goal on the Memphis too. So I'm still nervous as a Michigan fan, man. Like, I'm confident in my team, but I watched 2020. I don't know if any of you watched the 2020 season, but I witnessed my team just not be good when they should be good, or like wet the bed several times. Maryland has a hell of an offense. I'm looking forward to their upcoming big games. Yeah, their offense is great. The problem is they can never play a full 4 quarters of football. Also, Georgia, first and goal at the Auburn 5. That's going on as well. So Georgia will probably punch it in. They'll answer. But with that 10-0 lead, what that gives is Auburn fans some juice and some hope that they can, gain a lead, a double-digit lead, and that they can make this a game. And we're back here. I haven't had volume on this game at all. And Matt Rule's explaining why they went for it. He said, you're trying to play winning football, and we're playing to win. Okay, so 3rd and 7 at the 15. J.J. McCarthy looks like he's going to face a blitz from Tony White's 3-3-5. They bring 4 men. McCarthy is all day to throw, and he has it complete to A.J. Barner. Good pass play by Michigan. That was a long of 16 to A.J. Barner. So McCarthy now 4 of 5 for 53 yards. And Michigan is going to milk the clock, much like Nebraska. Both of these teams, again, outside of the top 100 in seconds per play, they are going to want to milk the clock, much like Jonathan Smith did. He did like this live. And then pushed his hands down saying milk the clock. With these new clock rules, teams like Michigan, Oregon State, and also Nebraska, they can use these rules to their advantage by resting their defenses more, controlling games. Michigan's always been a game control team. Even last year when they had some games against Illinois and TCU that were iffy, they had the 2nd highest average in-game win probability for the whole season. Why is that? Well, that's because they are just dominant. They control games. McCarthy tosses it. It's A.J. Barner, a shovel pass to him, and that's a first down. He faked out Nebraska's entire defensive line. So right here, Chief Borders comes up and goes right after Edwards, and McCarthy pulled it right there for a little shovel pass. That was a really great play there. Also, Georgia scored 7. Michigan, Donovan Edwards. He runs for about 3 yards to the 50. So 2nd and 7 from the 50. This drive has about been 3 minutes for Michigan. You see Zach Zinner, you see Drake Nugent, you see Trevor Keegan, and Corum's back in the game as well. I expect another run from Michigan. They're going to get close to 100 yards rushing, probably on this drive alone. I already have 63 passing yards just on 6 attempts. So this offense is efficient right here. Michigan, flea flicker, and McCarthy all day passes it, and it's caught. That is Cornelius Johnson. That was a dart right there. Absolute dart. Gain of 20 to the Nebraska 30 for a first down with Cornelius Johnson. Wow. And the O-line is all day. Michigan is not, there's no pressure. No pressure. Okay. McCarthy in the backfield. 4 receivers out there. They hand it off. Donovan Edwards, stiff arms, gets about a gain of 9-10 yards. They're going to give him around 9 or 8 out at the Nebraska 21 for a 2nd and 1. Edwards right now leads the team in rushing yards. Michigan has 88 rushing yards. They're averaging 5.9 yards per rush right now with 1 rushing touchdown. And they're chewing clock, too. They want to minimize this game because if they're up 21-0 and you only have less than 10 minutes left before halftime, that's a pretty big lead for Michigan. The thing with Michigan is they just can't take their foot off the gas. And they can't do that. High snap. McCarthy facing pressure. He's going to run. As a blockers, McCarthy, touchdown Michigan. 21-yard scramble. Man, he has acceleration. Michigan now is over 100 rushing yards. Wow. Great run by J.J. McCarthy. And that right there, that was crazy speed. Wow. He's, outside of Heinrich Haarberg, he's the best dual threat quarterback in the big, he probably is the best dual threat quarterback in the Big Ten, assessing his running and passing. He's not as good of a runner as Heinrich Haarberg, but I think he's the second best scrambling quarterback in the Big Ten. Extra points good, 21-0 Michigan. 11 minutes, 22 seconds left in the second quarter. Yeah, Daniel Thornton, McCarthy touchdown run. That was incredible, man. Good for him. He's had a great game so far. McCarthy right now is 6 of 7 for 83 yards and 1 touchdown. He also has 30 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown as well. So, honestly, that's great for Michigan. 21-0 up on the Cornhuskers. If you're in Nebraska, you have to score on this drive. Michigan has 12 minutes and 6 seconds of possession. They have 9 first downs. They have almost 200 total yards. And on the ground, they're averaging nearly 7 yards per carry. Nebraska's only averaging 2 yards per carry. Kansas also scored on Texas. It's 10-7 right now. Jason Bean ran for 27 yards, and then it was covered by Daniel Highshaw, and rushed in for a touchdown. That's funny. Wow, so that was kind of a fluke play that went in Kansas's favor. Auburn right now, 2nd and 10 at their own 25, second quarter. And then he completed a pass to Brian Batty for 7 yards, so it's 3rd and 3. What do you guys think of this game so far? The scoreboard is cropped weird. We can't see the scores, by the way. What? Why is that? Oh, okay. I know what's up. Let me see something really quick. Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay. There. Now you can see them. It was just scrolled for whatever reason. It was scrolled weird. I have a separate window open for the scoreboards. That way I don't bother it, but for whatever reason I bothered it. So, that's my bad. Here you go. Now I think you guys can see the scoreboard. Why are you asking me about soccer? Like, I don't know anything about soccer. I don't know anything about Hansi. I don't know anything about soccer. I don't. Whatsoever. Oh. Great taunting by McCarthy. Really professional. I did not hear what he said. I don't want to hear him taunting, though. Michigan and McCarthy specifically had a problem with overconfidence, to be kind, entering the TCU game. Don't want to see that whatsoever. I heard talk of the number 1 rushing defense, and no matter what channel I watch, I'm not seeing one. Well, I talked about that it was inflated. I thought that Michigan had the much better defense. And Michigan's O-line, this is the best game they've played all year on the O-line so far. I mean, McCarthy's had no pressure. There have been holes. Edwards is also hitting his holes. This is a really good game by Michigan. LOL, right, it seems like a bot. Well, he isn't spamming right now, so I'm not going to ban him yet. So yeah, we'll just wait. Okay, it seems like Auburn punted to Georgia. Okay, so 1st and 10 for Nebraska at their 25. Let's see what's going on here for the Cornhuskers. They're down 21. They're going to pass. Get it to Anthony Grant for a 1-yard gain. This is the problem with Nebraska. They want to play to win, which means now that they're down 21, they're going to want to pass. They're not going to want to run. And Nebraska, frankly, can't pass the football. I know they had that reception, that nice, pass to Billy Kemp. But Billy Kemp's and maybe Washington and Fedoni, if he's on his A game, those are their only receivers. They've had to rely on walk-ons. Their pass protection isn't great. Michigan now isn't playing as aggressive on defense. Oh my gosh, bad snap. Haarberg had to fall on it. It's going to be 3rd and 16. Nebraska's just, they've already made, two near turnovers. One of them was recovered, luckily, by Heinrich Haarberg, but it's 3rd and 16. Cole Menard. I feel bad. Oh, music for me, 007. Not the worst taunt in the world, but I would just prefer it if, maybe he flexed his muscles and then moved on. The crybaby thing. Yeah. Nah. Okay, pass. Harburg, he's going to run it. He's going to run the ball, and Michigan tried to strip it, but it's going to be 4th and 5, so there's going to be a punt. Kansas forced Texas to a field goal. They'd probably be winning with Daniels healthy. It's a great possibility of that. Okay. Okay, 4th and 5. Does Nebraska try for like a fake punt, or like what do they do? I imagine Michigan is going to be I mean, they're huddling right now. The punt team is, so Michigan looks like they want to come after the punt. Just be careful. Don't try and block the punt. Jake Thaw returns the punt, and he returns it all the way for 11 yards to the Michigan 35. So Nebraska, right now, really, really struggling. This is the most lopsided game in Michigan's favor they've had all year. Seriously. 9 minutes, 15 seconds left. Wow. Okie dokie. What's the Yeah, no, we're not gonna. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Got that troll out of the way. I'm glad we are seeing less of the taunting flag. Auburn's defense is giving up too much. Georgia's going to rally easily if they don't adapt. Yeah, but Georgia, I mean, Georgia's good. We can't deny that either. Auburn holding them to 4.8 yards per pass attempt and 4 yards per carry is pretty impressive as it is. And them grabbing that 10-point lead early is important. The problem is they don't have a passing offense. So Georgia, with their defensive talent, can probably line up in goal line every play and maybe allow 3 or 7 more points to Auburn. Yeah, they just don't have any kind of passing offense. By the way, unless things drastically change, even my prediction won't be perfect for Nebraska and Michigan. The reason being, I didn't think that Michigan was going to jump out to a 21-point lead before halftime. One of my predictions was the score would be within 7 at the half, and that's still possible. But Michigan right now is doing better than even I thought they were going to do. I mean, this is an impressive performance on every level by Michigan so far. The way that they have had a pass defended, they've had several clean tackles so far. They're doing well in the passing game, good in the run game, and their special teams. Special teams haven't been amazing, but that was a good play to try and block that punt, but be disciplined. And also Jake Thaw returning it for 11 yards is impressive as well. So we'll have to see where this goes. Oh my gosh, Georgia. Marcus Rosemary, Jack Saint just got a big passing play. Georgia will probably make it 14 to 10. Wow. But to give up 10 to Auburn, not very good. And Auburn themselves, they have 111 rushing yards already. Georgia's pass defense looks better than last year, but their running defense looks worse, and their offense overall looks worse. Same with, I'd say, their special teams. Hopefully Auburn can hold them to a field goal or make them miss the field goal. Vanderbilt's also beating Missouri 7-3. So that's something to keep all of our eyes on. Okay, 392 consecutive sellouts. A question. I'll answer this question after this drive from Michigan's over during the next commercial break. Will Nebraska keep their sellout streak alive or no? Play action pass by McCarthy. Pumps, throws deep, incomplete. Overthrew Cornelius Johnson. Will Nebraska's sellout streak end, or will they get to a good level before there's even a risk of that? Answer in the live chat. Yeah, I think the wind might have affected that. It was still catchable, though. Barely. If it was just more on point. Okay. Michigan's going to pass another time, and it's incomplete, just barely over the head of Colston Loveland through his fingertips. So Nebraska might force a punt, and we have not seen Michigan punt a whole lot, but now it's going to be 3rd and 10. If you're Nebraska, you need Michigan to punt here, desperately. You need them to punt. Michigan might have made a mistake by not running there. They wanted to pass, but 2 incompletions now sets them behind. They're going to have to pass again. They're 3 of 4 on 4th down. Nebraska looks like they want to send pressure. They're going to run it with Edwards, and Edwards is going nowhere. So I don't know why Michigan did that. That was a bad drive. That was not a good drive. You don't want to take your foot off the gas, and I feel like that's what Michigan did. Burns some clock to give the defense a little bit more of a rest, but come on. You can't do that, man. So 21-0 Michigan, they're going to punt. That was like the most confusing drive ever. They make a punt for a touchback, so it's going to be 1st and 10 for Nebraska at their 20. Tommy Doman punts. He has a leg, but he punted over his punt coverage unit. So, okay, Georgia 10, Auburn 10. Tied game. That was a confusing drive by Michigan, though, I'll say. I don't like that drive. Luckily, there won't be a timeout, but still answer the question that I posed. Will Nebraska's sellout streak end? Yeah, answer that. And I'll get to it. Okay, so Nebraska's offense comes back on the field. Michigan only took 1 minute. If you're Nebraska's defense, you have to be encouraged by that. If you're Michigan, I don't know what you did there, but you got to run it. Okay, Nebraska looks like they want to run the football. They're going to halfback toss. Grant only gets about 2 or 3 yards. So the run game for Nebraska, not doing them too many favors so far in this game. Missouri is about to be their 2nd and 8 at the Vanderbilt 48. The first quarter is about to end. Nebraska wants to chew clock. They're going to chew clock. Okay, Nebraska is chewing clock. They're going to try and pass it, and it's deflected and caught by Harburg. And it's going to be 3rd and 5, 3rd and 4. Deflected at the line again. So Nebraska's offensive line, what that tells you is their O-line is not doing a good job of holding their blocks. I mean, right there, I don't know who that was who deflected it, but that was a nice catch by Harburg. I mean, Harburg's a playmaker. 3rd and 5. Michigan is showing some kind of pressure. They'll send anywhere from probably 3 to 6 guys. 3rd and 5, about 7 minutes left in the half. Clock is being chewed, and there's some confusion, and there's a catch by Billy Kemp. Darn it. Okay, but Nebraska gets the conversion there. That was a nice catch. Billy Kemp on the slant. He is their best wide receiver. One of their better players on offense, too. Gave a nice fake look with his hips to gain some space. It's a good play. And Nebraska, again, is milking clock. They want to go into half 21-7. That's what they want to do. And they can. That way they can make it 21-14 in the 3rd quarter. Janarian Bonner only gets about a yard on the ground. So Nebraska's run game is just nothing's happening there. And Janarian Bonner. Nebraska right now is averaging 2.1 yards per carry on 11 carries. But they're averaging 10 yards per pass play. So the problem is I don't think Matt Rule trusts Harburg to let it rip through the air, and that's understandable. Also, Nebraska wants to stick to their identity. Their identity is running the football. Problem is Michigan was one of the best rush defenses in the country. They're going to run it again. No, Harburg is stuck behind the line of scrimmage. He's thrown down. It's going to be 3rd and 11. Josiah Stewart with the stop, with the tackle for loss. Wow, that was a nice read. I was worried Stewart nearly hit a face mask on Harburg, but he grabbed him by his shoulder instead. 3rd and 10. Now Nebraska's averaging less than 2 yards per carry. This is an obvious passing situation. Michigan looks like they're going to send pressure again. There's 6 men to the line of scrimmage. 1 deep safety. They're going to pass. And Billy Kemp, it's 4th and 4. So is Nebraska going to go for it on the 4th and 3? I think Matt Rule's going to bring out the punting unit. Yeah, they're going to punt it away. Brian Buschini is back there. And Michigan will have a chance to make it 28-0 at the half. Or, I don't know, hopefully. I hope they do. I want Michigan to score 40 points as a Wolverine. They use all of that clock. Michigan's very conservative here with the punt. Jake Thaw. And Morris nearly muffs it, but now he has blockers. And despite muffing it, Morris is going to get out of the 45. But that was, again, Buschini. What Buschini did there is he made the tackle. Nice by him. He actually did a good job punting. It was just a very lucky situation for Michigan. That was not a good play there. Not a good play at all by Tyler Morris. That nearly gave Nebraska the ball. Michigan's special teams unit has looked pretty inefficient through their games. I think that might actually be the weakness of this team is special teams. Punting is by young guys. The kicking game's pretty boom or bust. And there's been some, change up at punt return multiple times. Okay. So here we are, 21-0. There's about 4 minutes left in the half. What a game so far by Michigan. Nebraska. I don't know what's going on. Morris made up for that, but darn, bad hands. Daniel Thornton, I agree with you. He returned it for 29 yards, so he made up for it. And Michigan will have good field position. They'll probably run down the clock and make it 24 or 28-0 at the half. But got to have better hands. Oh, by the way, Auburn is driving on Georgia, 2nd and 5 at the Georgia 16. Looks like they got some passing plays, but it seems like they're mainly sticking to that run. They're averaging 7 yards per carry with 140 yards. They're sticking to the run game, and Georgia's having a very difficult time stopping it, which is concerning because this means that Georgia is struggling with a one-dimensional team. Imagine what happens when they face an offense like Ohio State's or Penn State's or Michigan's or Washington. I know is somewhat one-dimensional passing, but Washington has an average run game, below average run game. They have an elite passing offense. Auburn just has a great run game, a horrendous passing offense. It's 3rd and 1 at the Georgia 12. Jarquez Hunter ran for a 4-yard gain. If Auburn if they punch it in for 7 here, that's a big deal. Or even if they kick a field goal. I mean, you'd like to punch it in for 7, but if you can still retain a lead and get some points, that's good. Very good. Okay, so let me check the chat. Okay. They're the big show, and they have a loyal fan base. They will continue to sell out. They're also restricting seats. I know that Deion Pryor told me in a message on my live chat, I think last night, that my brain's everywhere. That Nebraska is updating their stadium. It'll take away a few thousand seats, which means there's going to be more demand per seat because the fan base is just that big. Okay, looks like we're back here. and Michigan is falling into horrible play calling. Well, it looks like there's a 2nd and 13. I don't know if a sack occurred or what happened, or if it was a TFL. Oh yeah, TFL. They got Corum in the backfield. That was a nice penetration there. That was Michigan's first bad play on the O-line there. Blake Corum ran for a 3-yard loss. 2nd and 13. 3 minutes and 40 seconds remaining. Both teams have had pretty equal time of possession. The difference is Michigan's just so much more efficient with their possession. So Michigan tried to get back to the run. Nebraska guessed they would. It's a good play. 3 minutes, 30 seconds left. 2nd and 13. Nebraska's fan base is still dedicated, man. Corum is still in the backfield as well. This is at the Nebraska 42. McCarthy checks the play call. And a delay of game. Or a timeout. What's it going to be? Yep, timeout. Michigan took a timeout because of a delay of game. Not what I want to see, but we're up 21-0, so I can't complain right now. Good timeout by Jim Harbaugh. You know, like 4 bad plays in a row. You don't want to take your foot off the gas. Auburn failed to convert on 4th and 3rd and 4th down in the Reds. Ooh, that's not good. That is not good. That's a good stop by Georgia there. But Georgia is struggling. Still a tied game, about to enter half. The question is, can Georgia go down in a minute 18 and take the lead at half? That's the question. And Missouri punched it in, by the way. 12 minutes, 27 seconds left in the second quarter. They're up 9-7 right now. Nebraska's streak will stay alive for a while, but we need to put an asterisk next to it. Last year, a corporation bought a bunch of seats, keeping the sellout streak alive. When was that? What corporation bought their sellout? What corporation bought up a bunch of seats? Curious. Wow. Okay. So, if you're in Michigan, you want to make it 28-0 at half, is what you want. Or if you can make it 21 or 24-0 at half, it's still a victory. You have a shutout in the first half. You got to come out still with fire in the second, but it's a dominant first half. Michigan scored those 21 points in less than 20 minutes of the game, and with the fact they love to be dominant and chew clock, it's pretty impressive. Georgia Auburn. It looks like Georgia probably wants, knowing Kirby Smart, they probably want to go into the half. They probably want to go into the half tied. They don't want to take too many risks, especially since they're so deep. So Dejan Edwards just had a 2-yard carry. 2nd and 8. They're just going to let the clock milk. Kansas 3rd and 5, their own 37. It looks like it's going to be probably 7-13 entering the half if Kansas can get a drive going. Here we are. Yeah. Nebraska seems to show that 3-3-5 without blitzing it isn't very effective. Corum the stop was a first. Brownie College football, Maryland would not be in the top half of the SEC. I don't know about that. Penn State, Ohio State, and Michigan for sure though would be. I'd actually say Michigan, Penn State, and Ohio State if you took those 3 and made the SEC or maybe you included Maryland, made it a 18-team league, they'd be in the top 3rd. Okay, so there's some pressure. McCarthy dumps it off. Stiff arm by Cornelius Johnson. Johnson gets either a first down or it's 11 or 12 yards. Yep, 3rd and 1 at the Nebraska 46. McCarthy 7 of 10 for 95 yards and a touchdown with also 30 yards on the ground. I expect Michigan to run it. Maybe they pass it. We'll just have to see. 3rd and 1. Okay, let's see what goes on here. Michigan comes out. They're heavy. And they have Cologne Mullings back there. And Mullings is going to get a 6-yard gain through the hole created by the O-line. 1st and 10th, the Nebraska 40. Good gain. Mullings, 2 carries, 26 yards, and a touchdown. He has speed, he has power, he has size. And he can cut, and he can find the hole. Good football player. About 2 minutes left in the game. And Blake Corum, with Wilson motioning out, Blake Corum is going to pick up a 1st down, going to get about 10 or 11 yards, 1st and 10th in Nebraska 30. The clock will reset along with the chains. Wow. It's crazy. And Georgia, 4th and 2. They're going to punt it with 32 seconds left. Let's see if Auburn can do something with that 32 seconds. So Michigan, 1:30 left. They did not take any of their timeouts, but they're taking their time. McCarthy is going to pass. McCarthy escapes, and it's caught by Roman Wilson for 5 yards. That was a nice throw across his body and to a safe area where only his receiver could catch it. 2nd and 5 out of bounds. So Michigan now is in field goal range. They're in field goal range here in Lincoln. Oh, and don't worry, we will play trivia. We'll definitely play trivia at halftime. Do not worry. Okay, Corum is back there with McCarthy. 1:21 left. 7 seconds left on the play clock. Snap. Corum gets about a gain of 3. Michigan will probably go quick to the line. Or they'll chew the clock. I thought Corum was injured for a minute. I didn't like the look of that, but he's going to come out of the game. And it looks like Edwards is coming back in. 57 seconds remaining. Okay, 48 seconds left. 3rd and 2 at the 22. Johnson motions out. They're going to hand it off to Edwards. Edwards powers forward. It's going to be 1st and 10 from the 16. Now maybe you use a timeout. Or do you... No, you're going to go quickly to the line. It's Cologne Mullings, actually. 4 receivers out. Mullings in the backfield. McCarthy going to take his time, throw. He's pressured. I think that's Nash Hutschmacher, the polar bear. And he throws. Touchdown! Roman Wilson. Now 8 receiving touchdowns on the season. Michigan's going to be up 27-0 right now. Wow, what a dominant performance. McCarthy, 9 of 12 for 116 yards and 2 passing touchdowns. Wow. Wow. That's sweet. That's a good play by Roman Wilson. Great throw by McCarthy, too. He could have taken it off, and he would have outran Hutschmacher, but he slowed down, and he found his receiver back there. Wow. Crazy. Oh, music for me. Yeah, that's, Michigan has not had a quarterback in so long that has been able to make those kind of plays. Denard Robinson could, but he wasn't consistent. McCarthy's consistently made these plays 5 games through the season. It's, for reference, when an Ohio State fan is praising your quarterback, that's when you know that you're making it at the position. Ohio State's had, Dwayne Haskins, Justin Fields, C.J. Stroud, and other ones like J.T. Barrett, for example. They have had athletic quarterbacks who can make those kind of plays. That's why they dominated the conference for so long. And when they, the last 2 seasons, when they haven't won the conference, they've still been a top 6, top 4 team. It's crazy. Noetic Justice, I think Penn State is playoff caliber, but only so many teams can get in. And with Michigan and Ohio State in the same conference, I don't see Penn State in the actual playoff. I agree. And I think Michigan and Ohio State are better than Penn State. I think Michigan matches up extremely well with the Nittany Lions. Ohio State's at home. And with how Penn State's run game has looked, I imagine Aller is going to have a big day in order to score on this Ohio State defense. So Penn State has things to work on, but they moved to 5-0. They struggled against Northwestern, like Michigan did against Bowling Green, like Ohio State did against Indiana. It's no big deal. Just got to make sure that they look good against UMass while running a vanilla playbook, and that they get business done at Ohio State. 28-0 is just nuts. Like, I didn't think Michigan would be up 28-0 before halftime. But 30. My prediction was 34-3. If Michigan gets one more touchdown, they've scored more than I've expected. His team looks good right now. Okay, Heinrich Harburg, he's going to run. He's going to take off. And he's going to get out of bounds with 16 seconds remaining. 1st and 10 at the Nebraska 41. It's 10-10 at half for Georgia-Auburn, by the way. So it's tied. Texas is driving in Kansas territory with 13 seconds remaining. It'll probably be 16-7 at the half. Solid 2-score lead for the Longhorns at home. Here we go. Michigan sends 4, and they're going to get a pass off. And Anthony Grant, or Emmett Johnson, actually, is the guy. And it looks like Nebraska's going to take a timeout. They're second with 8 seconds left. Heinrich Harburg completed a pass to Emmett Johnson for 7 yards. I thought that was Anthony Grant for a minute. My bad. Wow. Whoa, that's a dominant half. Are you in Roman Wilson's Discord? If not, you should definitely join. He's very active. I'm not, actually. Do you care to... how do you join his Discord, Blue? Do you just... you have to get invited, or do you, find it through a YouTube link? How do you join it? I'm curious. Okay. Michigan's only going to rush 3. They almost get to Harburg with 3 men. I mean, that just shows where Nebraska. And Harburg throws it away. That's half. So 28-0. He tried to get to Billy Kemp. Who is Roman Wilson? That has to be. That is laced with sarcasm. Noetic Justice. That's laced with sarcasm. Okay, I'm going to take a quick ad break, and I'm going to be back, and we're going to play trivia and talk about this game and other games around the country. So I'll see you guys soon. Bless me. Did not mean to burp. But it happens. Stuff happens. Looks like, did Texas turn it over before the half? Yeah, I think they did. Let me check. I'm pretty sure Ewers threw a pick. Yes, he did. He threw a pick in the red zone. So Kansas is very fortunate to only be down by 6 at the half. And it looks like it seems that Texas is struggling to defend the run attack from Kansas. Both teams are having success running. Texas is just having a problem finishing, which could be a problem for a team like Kansas that's going to be creative offensively. Okay, so in the first half, what we learned so far is that, Michigan, I accidentally switched the scoreboard there, by the way, that's my bad. We learned that Michigan is just, wow. Talk about efficiency. They only had one punt, and didn't they only have, 5 drives? Let's see. I think they only had 5 drives in total. Yes, they did. And 4 of them were touchdowns. And 5 drives, 80% success rate on drives and scoring points. All those points were from touchdowns. That's phenomenal. I know that Nebraska isn't a top 25 team, but Nebraska still has a good defense in my mind. And we've seen that against Colorado. Nebraska's defense looked a lot better than USC's, a lot better than TCU's, who aren't great defenses, but they're better than a lot of Power 5 teams we can name. And Oregon actually had an offense. Nebraska has vulnerabilities on defense, but Michigan is just burying this team, to be frank. So that's that in the first half. We'll see what Nebraska can do in the second half. Michigan has 247 total yards, 13 first downs. They have 16 minutes and 36 seconds of possession. Right now, the Wolverines are averaging through the air 9.7 yards per pass attempt and 6 yards per carry. Nebraska's averaging 8.4 yards per pass attempt and only 2.8 yards per carry, with Heinrich Haarberg being the leading rusher and passer for the team. So that's that, really. 28-0 Michigan at the half. Georgia Auburn is 10-10 at the half. Kansas Texas is 7-13 Texas at the half. Missouri is beating Vanderbilt 10-7. They're in Vanderbilt territory with about 9 minutes to go in the second quarter. Let me check your chats. Okay. There might be a link in his Twitch account. There is a link. Okay. I'll check that out. I'll try and remember to check that out. Okay. First half takeaways. Michigan is the real deal. Can't really use weakness of schedule against them anymore. People can in the sense of how would they fare against a top 10 team, but when you beat these small teams in the dominant fashion they are, eventually you think, well, what happens to a top 10 team when they play Michigan? Because Nebraska, there's a reason that Josh Pate and Corn Crazed took Nebraska to cover. There is. Very clearly, it looks like Michigan will probably cover in this game because 28-0 half is something that's not, we've seen teams blow leads. I don't imagine Michigan's going to blow this lead. But it is what it is. I'm definitely overreacting, but USC could be the 5th best team in the Pac-12. I think they're the 6th best team in the Pac-12. I think they're middle of the road in their own conference right now. Noetic Justice, will Michigan be tested before Penn State? The answer to that question is probably not. No. With the rivalry game at Michigan State, you just never know. But I don't think they will. I don't. Penn State will be a test. And Ohio State's the ultimate test. I don't care that Penn State's on the road. Ohio State's at home. The Ohio State game is going to be a tougher game for Michigan than the Penn State game will. It will be tougher, especially since Ohio State this year looks like they may be built to beat or at least compete with Michigan for all 4 quarters, if not beat them. Their defense is much better, and their rushing offense, I think, if they run on the interior, it'd be a great rushing offense. That's just my opinion, though. Nebraska's regressed since 2021. That was supposed to be their breakout year. So disappointed in Scott Frost. Yeah, there's an interesting article. I'm actually going to look it up. Typing right now. I saw an article that basically said, looking about statistics. Oh, here. Okay, here's the article. Okay, this is insane. This article basically concludes that Nebraska had a better chance of winning 11 games that season and going 11-1 than going 3-9, but they went 3-9 anyway. If you're a Nebraska fan, it's a depressing article, but if you're a college football fan, or if you've already accepted the 3-9 season, this article basically right here talks about the statistical probabilities of Nebraska's 2021 season and how, based off of expected points added, success rate, Adrian Martinez's quarterback efficiency, and all these different things, and also how Nebraska performed on their schedule, they had a better chance of going 11-1 than 3-9, but they went 3-9 anyway. Wow. It's wow stuff. So I encourage you to read that. I read it, found it interesting. I referenced it in my live with Corn Crazed, but I didn't have the article on hand. So kind of a shame. Brownie College football, Penn State at Ohio State is coming up in 2 weeks. Oh, I'm excited for that game. Ohio State had a bye this week. Penn State has a bye next week. If you're a Buckeye fan, I was going to get a video for you all out this morning. Instead, I'm going to get it out tomorrow morning and talk about, in light of the Big Ten's performance and also Ohio State's bye week, just talk about Ohio State's season so far, what I like, what I don't like, all these different things. So I'm going to pin this article just so I hope everyone reads it. Laith Musa, good to see you here. He says, easiest win I've seen. That's sad. Oh my gosh. I mean, when Kalel Mullings rushes for 20 yards against a goal line defense, and he's known as a power back, not a guy who breaks out in space, even though he's good, that kind of summed it up for me. Is when I saw that, I'm like, wow, like Kalel Mullings really ran for an explosive run. It's crazy. Michigan right now is a very, Edwards is 8 carries, Corum has 9, Kalel Mullings is 3, McCarthy is 2. Michigan has 22 carries for 131 rushing yards. In Michigan, McCarthy did make some big throws. I know they've spoon-fed him throws in this game with like 12 attempts, but if you're Michigan, be creative and pass it a little bit. But most importantly, I'd say run. Like, really train your offensive line and wear down this defense. That's just me, though. Cade Ezra, are you a Penn State fan? Just curious question. Are you a Penn State fan? If I had to watch Martinez play one more year, I was going to open an inquiry with the NCAA. Seemed to be there for 10 years. That's because when people think of Adrian Martinez, they also think of Taylor Martinez, even though they're two different people. Also, Martinez, Adrian, he started the minute he got on campus. He started as a true freshman, so he was there starting for several seasons. One of the perks of being a Nebraska fan is learning the names of opposing teams' players that even their fans don't typically hear. Oh, yeah. I hope that changes, though. I get the reference to that. Backups. Kate Ezra, of course I am a Penn State fan. Well, you know what? Go Nittany Lions. I think that with how bad the Big Ten has looked, Penn State, Ohio State, and Michigan, they can only lose to each other. They cannot afford to lose to anyone else. They can't. Anything less than 10-2 for any of these teams is unacceptable. And I would say for Michigan and Ohio State, anything less than like 11-1 is unacceptable. Penn State, maybe that's the case for them too, but I think that more pertains to next year. Penn State will have a lot of guys returning next year, you can't say the same for Michigan. For Ohio State, it depends. A lot of their projected first rounders were, juniors and sophomores who had eligibility but just were athletic freaks. Not all those guys are panning out so far, so they might get a fair amount of returning production. Michigan for sure won't, though. They'll have like 15 or more starters leaving after this season. Okay. I root for Michigan since my dad is an alum from there, but I only root against them in one game. Of course. That being when Michigan travels to Happy Valley or when Penn State travels to Ann Arbor. I respect that, though. I've been a Michigan fan my whole life, and it pleased me that I was able to be admitted into the university. Look out, boys. I started rooting for Michigan because every team I love loses. Let's go Wolverines. Make Logan proud. Sri Raja. I love Harbaugh's open mouth look, as if he's never been on a football field before and is trying to figure out what everyone's doing. I think personally he's like thinking about so much that like sometimes physically he's just absent. That's what I've concluded. I used to make fun of him blankly staring when we were losing. Now it's kind of funny because it's like, well, he's far from being an idiot or making idiotic decisions, but he's still doing the same look like that he has been ever since he's gotten to Michigan. Is Sam mowing the grass during this water break? What? Oh, I think you hear some. Do you hear some background noise? I think that might be my laptop. Like my laptop fan is just moving. It's it can be annoying. Is that what you hear? Like hear some background noise? Okay, we're gonna start trivia here. So Michigan and Nebraska have played 12 times in their history. 12 times. What's the record? And in favor of who? I'll give you a hint. There's one tie. So out of 11 games in which there has been a victor, what's the record between these two teams? And welcome back, Jack Harrington. Okay, we'll start. We'll just wait a little longer to let some answers pour in for trivia. And a real note, Sam, congratulations on some of the best college football content ever made. Your dedication to your channel is extremely admirable. I appreciate that, Sri Racha. I appreciate that a lot. One more win for Michigan than Nebraska? No. But Kate Ezra has it correct. 7-4-1. That's exactly it. Michigan has won 7 games, and Nebraska has won 4 of them. Michigan currently has a 3-game win streak against the Huskers dating back to 2018, where they won 56-10. They then won 32-29 in 2021 and 34-3 last year. Before then, though, in 2012 and 2013, Bo Pelini beat Brady Hoke 23-9 and 17-3, and also lost to Michigan 45-17 in 2011. So in the Big Ten, Nebraska has beaten Michigan twice, and Michigan has beaten Nebraska 4 times. Outside of Big Ten play, series is 3-2 in favor of the Wolverines. And in the modern era of college football, like, post World War II, it's actually been, 2-1 in favor of the Huskers outside of conference play. All of them, of course, 2 of them being, 2 of them being in bowl games. and then one in 1962 being in Ann Arbor. Okay. So that's some trivia. Okay. Michigan and Nebraska have dominated their conferences in history, like some of the best in their conferences. For Nebraska, that's traditionally been the Big 8. Big 12. For Michigan, it's always been the Big 10. Who has more conference championships? Both teams have more than 40 conference championships. And also, tell me who has more national titles. So who has more conference championships and who has more national championships? Let's let the answers pour in. Sam is the best college football channel. I'm trying. I'm very much trying to be. Thank you, Brownie College Football, for the encouragement. We are the best college football community. That's what I'll say. Who do you have in LSU versus Ole Miss, Sam? I have LSU winning. I have LSU covering. Yeah, I think LSU's going to beat Ole Miss. Conference Nebraska, National Michigan. Bingo. Heretic Justice gets it right. Michigan has 44 conference championships. Nebraska has 46. Nebraska, however, only has 5 national titles. Michigan has 11 national titles. Obviously, a lot of those national titles came before World War II, but Winsipedia still registers them. And heck, in 100 years, people will look back on, 2023 season and be like, it was 100 years ago. Like, for example, if Michigan wins a national title this season, which is possible. Okay, another one. Who has more Heisman winners between the two schools? Also, Georgia Auburn, that game's back on. Michigan football's running an ad with Mike Morse Law Firm. It's with Mike Morse, the lawyer, and Mike Morris, the defensive end. That's funny. I love that. Love it. Okay. I think Michigan, but this feels like a trick. It's not Michigan. Also, D Money 5675. Awesome. I'm glad to have you on. Georgia fumble and turn. That's disgusting. Are you joking? That's stupid. That's wow. That's like incredible idiocy. Isn't trapped under something heavy off camera? No. Are you've got to be messing with me. Whatever. Okay, so to answer the Heisman question, we had it a long time. Only Noetic Justice answered. It's tied. Michigan has 3 Heisman winners. Nebraska has 3 Heisman winners, and this game's back on. So, thank you for playing some trivia with me and answering questions. I enjoy doing that. It's a way to fulfill time. We have around 50 concurrent viewers. We peaked early. We're now hovering around 50, and we have 41 likes. Let's try and get to 60 likes by the end of the live stream and also get back up to about 100 concurrent viewers. Oh my gosh. Yeah, what is Georgia doing? That's stupid. That's like nuts, man. Wow. Now, if you're Auburn and you're held to 4th down, you kick that field goal. Because you've been able to stop Georgia all day. You know you can run on them. I hope Auburn gets a touchdown here. That would be incredible. They do. Robbie Ashford for 9 yards. It's 16-10. Auburn takes the lead. Also, cheers. Seriously, cheers. This is awesome. Okay. And Nebraska Stadium is slowly emptying out. It's actually pretty empty looking at it. A lot of fans left. It's pretty empty. Okay, now Auburn is favored to win by FPI. Now that they got that touchdown. Wow, Georgia cannot stop the run to save their life, it seems. Okay, Nebraska has it 1st and 10 at their own 25. Michigan going to play aggressive. Harburg wants to pass. He's going to let it rip. And Marcus Washington with a big gain. He's fighting. And wow, that's a big play. Massive pass for 56 yards. That's concerning if you're Michigan. I know that it's, the second half, and they're up by 28, but you don't want to give up these big plays. Marcus Washington with a gain, and Michigan was not tackling him. Nebraska up quickly. Wow. They're in the red zone already. And that was on Will John. That was like on the secondary, really. That was a deep pass. Nebraska again is milking the clock. They're playing to win. Anthony Grant's going to run it for just a gain of 2, though. So again, that run game is not going in Nebraska's favor whatsoever. Yeah, so Nebraska's been able to pass. I think what Michigan's doing is they're selling out for that run. They're willing to let Nebraska get deep passes. But yeah, that was insane. Okay, so Nebraska is still chewing clock. Like, they want to control possessions, and they want to establish their identity. Let's see what they do here. I expect an option. They pitch it, and a fumble. It's recovered by Nebraska, though. Nearly recovered by Michigan, but a fumble recovered by Ben Scott, the center. So it's 3rd and 10, or 3rd and 2. Yeah, that was a fumble right there, punched out. That was Anthony Grant fumbled it. That's his 2nd fumble of the season. Good play by Michigan. Chris Jenkins unfortunately could not come up with it, though. Ben Scott fell on it. So now it's going to be 3rd and 2. 12:49 left. Nebraska, I wouldn't be surprised if they score it here. And false start. The last thing you need if you're Nebraska, because now you got to pass it. False start. Wow. Whew. Oh, wow, 49 likes. Thank you, guys. That means a lot. Ooh, Harburg got sacked. Wow, that's crazy. Braden McGregor with the pressure. So Nebraska got down quickly, but now it's 4th and 13. You think they're going to kick the field goal here just to get something on the board? Wonder what Michigan decides to do. But what also Nebraska decides to do. But Braden McGregor with a sack, that's important. Now it's 4th and 14, or 4th and 13. Tristan Alvano's coming on for a 40-yard field goal attempt. Let's see what Michigan can do, and Alvano misses it. Kick's not good. So Nebraska gets down again into the red zone, and then Michigan pushes them out, and they miss the field goal attempt. So another wasted drive. Nebraska's really left, in my opinion, anywhere from 6 to 10 points on the board. It's unfortunate. Another Georgia turnover. What's going on? Are they falling apart? Oh my gosh, that's bad. What was it this time? Was it a pick? I might switch to that game in the 4th quarter is what I might do. I might. Wow, it's crazy. Like if Michigan takes, a 35-0 or 42-0 lead in the 3rd quarter. What? Another fumble. Wow. That's bad. That's Maybe Paul Feinbaum can say that Georgia's dynasty is over, just like he did to Clemson when they lost one game. Paul Feinbaum, look, he's been in the business longer than I am, but man, his takes and his attitude is just like, what are you doing? Wow. I am in pain. All I have left is Schadenfreude. Okay, so you're going to be happy when like Michigan inevitably loses their playoff game, or when they lose to like something. Fumble again, but it's under review. Okay. Regardless, it's a tackle for loss. I mean, you're setting Georgia behind schedule, and Beck's 8 of 14 for 84 yards and a pick. That's not good whatsoever. Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy. You look at some other games across the country. Missouri took a 17-7 lead entering the half, and Texas just scored. Well, hopefully, is the ball out? I'm not going to switch games. Turnover overturned. Oh my gosh. Well, Georgia's fortunate. I mean, Auburn probably would have scored at least something there. And a double-digit lead in the third quarter would be tough to overcome. But if Auburn, capitalizing off of these turnovers, they're outgaining Georgia in yards. They're outgaining them in first downs. And they have 17 minutes of possession. Still running for a loss of 1 yard sets them behind. Georgia right now, they're only averaging 3.5 yards per carry, 6 yards per pass attempt. Auburn's ran it 30 times, passed it 6 times. They're losing. They're struggling against a one-dimensional team. That's never a good sign for like a national title contender. McCarthy is going to throw. He's hit as he throws. He overthrew the pass. So now he's going to be 9 of 13, and he took a big hit going down. Well, hopefully Georgia has to punt it. And Nash Hutmacher with pressure. Ladarius Henderson struggled to keep him. And wow. Hutmacher just thwacked McCarthy. Like he pancaked him. It's incredible. Now, looks like Michigan's going to run, but I wouldn't be surprised if they pass out of here. Okay, Corum with a lane, but it's closed very quickly. So it's going to be 3rd and 10. 11:34 left in the game. Michigan will chew a little bit of clock in the process here, but they'll probably end up punting it back. Hopefully Michigan can pick up the 3rd and 10 on the pass. Okay, Georgia converts with Ladd McConkey. But Auburn has a lead. Their crowd is definitely engaged. And they're still struggling. Okay, 4 wide receivers out. McCarthy checks the play. Edwards is in the backfield, so I wouldn't be surprised if he goes out as a receiver. He does. And McCarthy throws. It's caught. Colston Loveland powers forward. First down, about a gain of 14 in the pass. Yeah, 13 actually. That's a good play. Michigan's been very effective at picking up 3rd downs this season. So McCarthy now has 10 passing touchdowns on the season. And he stood in there and he delivered that despite being under pressure. Okay. Loveland's still in the game. McCarthy under center. Michigan looks like they're going to run. They do. And Corum with about a gain of 3. So it's going to be 2nd and 7 at the Michigan 38. And Georgia's going to have to punt. Or maybe they'll go for it. It's going to be 4th and 3 in Auburn territory. Who knows what Georgia will do here. Tony White, the defensive coordinator on the sidelines and also associate head coach, trying to get a stop here. But it is what it is at this point. The M is for methodical. Indeed. They're very methodical. They're also very efficient. Okay, McCarthy, play action. He sees someone deep. And it's caught by Darius Clemens. Redshirt freshman. Or sophomore. I think he's a sophomore, actually. Yeah, Darius Clemens is a sophomore. He didn't have many catches last year, but he was involved in multiple Wolverines. Freak athlete. Good pass. Pass of 19 yards. So McCarthy is getting close to crossing 150 passing yards, and he's completing passes. Here's Blake Corum. Corum finds a nice hole, powers forward for a gain of 9. 2nd and 1 at the Nebraska 34. Very good run. Michigan now with a 99.9% chance to win, according to FBI. I agree with that, especially if they punch it in here. There's only 8 minutes and 30 seconds left. I'll stay on this game at least until the 4th quarter, though. I need to watch my Wolverines play. Corum with a lane, and Corum gets a 15-yard run down to the Nebraska 19s. Michigan's in the red zone, and they have over 150 rushing yards right now and 2 rushing touchdowns. So the rushing attack's paying dividends, and it's very effective right now. Kansas also with the score. It's 20-14, Texas. Kansas had a 58-yard pass from Jason Bean. Tight formation for Michigan. Bredesen's out there, and he's moving in motion with Edwards behind McCarthy, who's under center. It's a play fake, a rollout, and Roman Wilson is wide open. Gains about 8 or 9 yards. It'll be 2nd and 2 at the Nebraska 11. So, I mean, look, McCarthy's completed around 75 or more percent of his passes. Virginia started off hot at 14-0 and 21-7, but lost 24-27 against Boston College. They're now 0-5. Yeah, that's hard to redeem. It's crazy. Okay, Corum running for yards after contact, and he has a gain of 8. Corum now with 71 rushing yards, 14 carries. I wonder if he's going to get over 100 rushing yards or not. And Carson Beck's pass is incomplete. Auburn takes over at their own 47. Wow. That's crazy. Purdue leads Illinois 16-13 at the half. And Corum... Oh, well, in fact, Georgia didn't go for it. They just punted. My bad. They didn't go for it, but they did punt. So, Auburn has the ball back. All right. Well, Corum, they'll probably use him again to get in the end zone for a touchdown, I imagine. Yeah, he's back there. And he gets in. 34-0 Michigan. I almost said 34-0 Nebraska. 34-0 Michigan. The extra point will make it 35-0. Touchdown. So 34-0 right now, Michigan. They've already crossed my point total. I predicted 34-3 would be the final score. This is dominance right here. Absolute dominance. Okay, very quickly, I am going to begin whipping up a template for Georgia-Auburn, just so I can correctly advertise which game I'm going live for. So I'll quickly, be doing that while trying to commentate. You'll hear me edit a little bit. Okay, but we'll be on this game until the 4th quarter, just because... Do I hear Scott Frost laughing his butt off? I think you do. But I think Rule's the better coach. The problem is Frost just ruined everything. More important, like Riley and Frost, just horrendous. They ruined a lot. Missouri's up 17-7 at the half. Kansas only down by 6. Michigan right now is having the best game of any team on the day so far. I'm confident this is the best team in the country. Firing Bo Pelini started your curse. Yeah, you can't, Deion Pryor, you cannot fire Rule. It's year 1. Michigan also, we all know that they're top 4 in the country, and I can't imagine that anyone with reason is going to have them outside of the top 3 after today. They looked better than Penn State. They look better than Georgia. They looked a lot better than USC. They look better than Texas. I mean, Michigan would be beating Kansas by more than 6 right now. I guarantee you that. Absolutely guaranteed, at least with how Michigan's playing today. On an average day, I don't know. But Michigan's putting together the most impressive performance of week 5 so far. I mean, look at Michigan, for example. They have had 6 drives in total. 5 of them have been touchdowns. That's an 80%. That's not even 80%. 5 divided by 6 is 83%. It's like 83% success rate. That's insane. That's nuts. And they had 1 3-and-out, 5 touchdown drives that were methodical, that had efficient passing. McCarthy's completing 75% of his passes. He's averaging nearly 10 yards per pass attempt. He's really averaging 13 yards per completion, a first down every time he completes a pass. Just stream Auburn, Georgia. I'm so excited to drop Georgia outside of the top 20. That's taking it too far. I'd drop them outside of the top 10, and I'd bring Auburn back in my top 25. Auburn was top 25 in my power rankings. My power rankings actually picked Georgia to win by 14, which means that they picked Auburn to cover. That's a very accurate assessment by my power rankings, at least more accurate than many people who picked Georgia to win and cover. Georgia can't contain the QB run at all. That's horrible. Because think about it. Who can run their quarterback? Michigan. Penn State can run their quarterback. They can't. Aller isn't as fast as McCarthy. In fact, Aller this year reminds me of a slower J.J. McCarthy from last year. In exchange for not turning it over as much, he doesn't have the same upside as a runner. And he also doesn't make the same, incredible Patrick Mahomes plays. But he doesn't turn it over either. He's pretty similar to McCarthy last year, which means he's, top 20 quarterback. Top 20, top 25 quarterback nationally. But he can run still. Michigan can run. Oregon can run. In fact, Oregon right now looks like a better team than Georgia does. Who'd have thought it that the team that lost by 46 last year in the opener might beat? It's a different team, obviously, but, just within the span of a year, Oregon returning a lot of their production, Georgia losing a lot of guys and a key staffer in Todd Monken. This doesn't look good for Georgia right now. Speaking of some of your suggestions about just turning it to Nathaniel Lathey to stream Auburn, Georgia, I'm working on an edit right now for that. Bo Pribula for quarterback running. Yeah, that's like Penn State could run Bo Pribula and they could switch it up with Aller. Like that's something Franklin would totally do. Okay, let's time to get out the edits. Okay. Yeah. Oh, Kirby Smart. You're right now college football's best head coach, and you're losing to Auburn. So maybe Nick Saban will jump back ahead of you, but I don't know if I'll do that. Yeah. You knew from the previous 2 seasons of Auburn football that Jarquez Hunter was going to be good when he was playing similar football to Tank Bigsby as a backup, if not, in my opinion, having a higher upside. But now Auburn's going to have to punt, but they drove into Georgia territory, so hopefully they can pin Georgia into decent field position. Okay, I'm going to switch this game over, and then I can keep updating the Michigan game and all that stuff. But before we switch over, let me just edit the templates. And also remember, I'm watching. I'm doing these games live, so I can also watch the teams that I cover play. That's why it's important I watch a little bit more of Michigan and Nebraska, because I cover those teams more than I do Georgia. I rarely cover the SEC. Rarely. It's not because I hate the SEC. I don't. It's rather just because I like the Big Ten. I'm a Michigan fan as well, so that just kind of makes sense as to why I would cover the Big Ten and not just the SEC. Okay, that's about good. That's perfect. And then we can do a little bit of Auburn. Okay, so if you were just hearing like the keys, the keyboard and stuff, that's just me editing, really. And need that logo to be smaller. Okay, Heinrich Harburg, the pass is deflected again. And this guy is just not having luck whatsoever. Heinrich Harburg is not. That's unfortunate for him. Okie dokie. My editing is getting closer and closer to being done. I already have the logos and everything in place. I just need to get the specific, players and coaches for that kind of art on, and then we'll be good. Okay, so 2nd and 10 from the 25, from their own 25, Nebraska. Heinrich Harburg is back there. They're just going to hand it off. No, it's an RPO that's behind Marcus Washington. Not good. That probably could have been a touchdown or a big gain at least if he held on to that. Yeah, Kirby Smart, what are you doing? Oh, Peyton Thorne. Oh, well, they did. They punted. Okay. Let's see what happens here. Third and 10. Harburg's under pressure. He has to throw it, and he throws it away outside of the tackle box. So it will be a punt. A punt for the Huskers. You cannot call for the firing of Rule. I mean, if anyone is doing that right now, I don't know what to tell you. You can't call for Rule's firing. You can't. You're probably going bowling still, and I say that because the West is horrible. Michigan, in comparison, is like college football. One of their best teams, if not their best team. You cannot call for the firing of Matt Rule. I mean, maybe there are elements of his staff that you look at you don't like. That's understandable. I think, for example, that what's his face? Darn it, Marcus Satterfield. I think Marcus Satterfield has some questions about him, but that's not this huge deal, I guess, in my perspective. Because he's a coordinator. He can be replaced, and at the end of the day, he will be replaced if he doesn't do his job. But Matt Rule, got to let him build for at least 2 more years, I would say, before he can make a verdict on that. Okay, the edit is almost done. I do apologize if it's the commentating right now has been somewhat boring. Okay. Poetic justice. Michigan State 0, Iowa -2. It's horrible. Okay, so Dejon Edwards gets a gain. Kansas got the ball back. And Michigan, with that punt, is also going to get the ball back. I expect the final score of this game probably to be like Michigan 42, Nebraska 7. Though Michigan may want to get a statement win and not, they may want to get that. They may want to have that statement win, and just keep, in a certain sense, run up the score. That wouldn't surprise me at all. But I don't think they'll score more than 49 points. It'll probably be 42, maybe 45, and that's what it is. Where did I? Oh, okay, never mind. Yeah, so we're going to stay on here looking at this game for just a few more minutes, but I promise you we'll switch. Okay. Man, the SEC stinks this year. Glad the Big Ten has 3 great teams. I think the Pac-12 is the other best teams that, like, really the Big Ten, Pac-12, and everyone else. Maybe Texas. They're up against a backup quarterback today. Yeah, the Big Ten, I think, has the best trio of teams in any conference this season. I think Penn State, Ohio State, and Michigan are all top 6, top 5 teams. Only other conference that could contend with having the best trio of teams, I think, would be the Pac-12. That's just my opinion. The best individual team, I think, also goes to the Big Ten. But the conference who'd contend for that next could also be the Pac-12. I think also, really any conference has a certain argument for the best team. I think that, Texas and Florida State contend because they have the best strength of records. They've beaten better teams. Michigan and Washington, from just a raw efficiency and dominance standpoint, look like the best. And Georgia's won 2 national titles, and sometimes they've won those 2 national titles while playing some pretty boring football against inferior competition. If Georgia wins this game, there's still an argument for them to be number 1, just becomes a weaker argument because Auburn likely is not a top 25 team unless they win this game. And they have, even if they do, they have a one-dimensional offense. Okay, so Edwards gets the handoff from Michigan. It's about a gain of 3. Michigan currently has 171 rushing yards, 3 rushing touchdowns. They'll get to 200 by the end of the day. Okay, Brownie College football. I would put respect on Maryland's name, but I need to see more from them. I really do. Like, how are they doing against Indiana? Let me check how they're doing against Indiana. Tuttle's pass is incomplete. McCarthy's been taken out of the game. Maryland's up 30-0. That's impressive. In retrospect, like looking at it, though, I think Ohio State's gotten better since they faced Indiana in the first place. And Indiana's the type of team that always starts out hot at the beginning of the year. With their depth, they start out good at the beginning. They get worse at the end. Yeah, Michigan now that they're up, they're just going to put backups in. Tuttle. His pass is incomplete. Dropped by A.J. Barner, who they were teammates in Indiana just last year. Michigan's going to punt it away. Now they have backups in, though. So Michigan with their starters, extremely efficient here. But now that they're putting in their backups, I'm gonna edit my live stream and I'm gonna turn on the Georgia game because we've learned what we can. We don't even see Nash Hutmacher out there for Nebraska. But there is a marker down, so hold on. Kansas has a 4th and 1 in their own territory. Offsides on Nebraska. And also an unsportsmanlike conduct on Nebraska. So the drive will continue. Meanwhile, I'm going to edit the description of this video. Only limited, of course. Edwards gains about 2 or 3. Okay, perfect. I'm also going to be watching the Michigan State-Iowa game tonight. I would live stream it if I was home alone and review it, but my parents are State fans. I want to watch the game with them. But, yeah. Tuttle throws. Pass is complete to Darius Clemens. Now, Michigan will probably score here. Now that they have rhythm. Okay, let me change the title here really quickly. Okay. Georgia versus Auburn. I'm just speaking out loud because I can. But here we go. This will be changed. And I'll save this. Tuttle. Complete to Bredesen. Yeah, so, okay, let's go over. So it's now Georgia versus Auburn. And hooray. We've changed it. Okay, so now Kansas just fumbled, of course, Kansas moment. Well, also Texas is good. I know Steve Sarkisian doesn't have the best reputation, but he's really changed that. Okay, I'm going to keep tabs on Michigan, though, of course, because they're my team. Okay, but this is garbage time. Georgia at Auburn. Okay, so now we're on here. And I'm going to sit on my knees just because it's more comfortable this way. 3rd and 10. Jordan Hare Stadium is loud. Beck is in there with Dejon Edwards, and this is the classic CBS call with, gosh, I forget their names. Beck is trying to throw, and he has it to Ladd McConkey, who's been inactive for a lot of Georgia's season, but is back. 2 minutes, 14 seconds left in this game. You know, Beck's 14 of 22 for 136 yards and an interception. He's not even averaging 10 yards per completion. Halfback toss. Dejon Edwards gets a gain of 11. Georgia finally going through, getting something. Yeah, I'm happy with my team's performance today. I'm a Michigan fan, by the way. Very, just for those of you who are new to the stream, I'm very happy with my team's result today. It was incredible. Also, Kalel Mullings got the first down. That dropped INT killed me. Are you going to make a video about your updated top 25 next week? Yes. I make it about my top 10 just because it's simpler, and the best 10 teams are the ones that really matter. But, yeah, you'll see my whole top 25 if you follow me and subscribe, because you'll see my post with my top 25, and then it'll show the, 25 through 11, and then it'll have a video for my top 10 teams. LSU versus Ole Miss starts in 5 minutes. I'm excited for that game. I think LSU wins. My potential power has, again, Patreon. If you want to, get information about my potential power and my picks on the spread, and potential powers picks on spread, it's 10 of 10 on the spread. As of last week, I'm actually going to update. I'll update that and just for fun go over with it with some of you guys right now. Looks like they're carrying off a player for Auburn. That's very unfortunate. Okay, so we see different college football games in the top 25. Okay, so Penn State covered the spread. They beat Northwestern. And, okay. How about Florida, Kentucky? Oh, yeah. Kentucky. Yeah, okay, so for today, it's my potential power is actually 3-3. They're 3-0 on spread and 3-0 on picks. Same with Clemson and Syracuse. So it's actually 4-0 in games that I've looked at. I'll update it for other games that have already happened. Oh, wow. I'm wide open to Bowers. Bowers is down inside the 20 for Georgia. That's nuts. Yeah, Georgia will probably make it 17-17 here. That wouldn't surprise me one bit. you know, Georgia has better depth. Auburn, though, does have the... Oh, wow, another halfback toss. And Dejon Edwards gets in. That was nice blocking on the halfback toss. Touchdown, Georgia. Edwards with a 13-yard rush. Tempo, Kirby Smart says kick the extra point. It's going to be tied 17-17. Georgia now has a 57.7% chance to win, according to FPI. Still a game that Auburn can definitely win, though. Still a game they can definitely win. I hate that play. You're watching Michigan. (17-17). End of the third quarter for Nebraska-Michigan, by the way. It's 35-0. Michigan is a 3rd and 4 on the Nebraska 12. They'll probably get a field goal, make it 38-0 or 42-0. Kansas, Texas is 14-26. Texas has 28 minutes of possession, so Kansas has just had quick scores. They haven't been able to put together anything consistent. Yeah, Texas is definitely winning that game. Have you posted a top 25 community post recently? If so, the algorithm's not been kind. I unfortunately didn't do one this week, I don't think. I did one last week, but I did do 2 top 10 videos in a row. My top 10 entering week 4 and my top 10 entering week 5. So the top 10 videos have been consistent. Same with, the game predictions and posts and all that stuff. Auburn should have kicked the field goal and took points at half. That was a mistake. Guess if the snap was not high enough, maybe it would have been converted. Yeah, I mean, again, this game is one where it's going to be about inches, I think. Because you're about to enter the 4th quarter and it's tied. So that's very critical. Very critical football game. Okay, well, we have over 30 concurrent viewers. We're doing good so far today. Honestly, thank you guys for all the support. I really appreciate it, and it means a whole lot. Okie dokie. So Peyton Thorne's out there. He's had a good day on the ground. Thorne play action. He's got it for about a gain of 7. All right. If Auburn wins this game, it's huge for Hugh Freeze. Hugh Freeze has a knack of beating these good teams, though. And then, as we saw against A&M, and we almost saw against Cal, struggling against these no-names. Thorne getting handed off. Nice cut by Batty. And it's going to be 3rd and 2. Expect a run here from Auburn. Auburn is over 200 rushing yards, by the way. And that's going to be the end of the 3rd quarter. So 3rd and 1. 3rd and 1. Entering the 4th quarter. 17-17. Tied game. Wow. What a game so far. I did not expect that to be close. I expected it to be closer than Michigan, Nebraska, but I think Auburn's a much better team than Nebraska. Okay, so Jack Tuttle, I'm going back to Nebraska, Michigan just to watch it. He's trying to scramble, and he ends up losing a few yards. So Michigan will be forced to kick a field goal here. Try and make it 38-0, which I hope they do. I want Michigan to score as many points as they can. But safe to say, I accurately predicted Michigan to cover and also win in dominant fashion. Okay. And they make the field goal. Perfect. Okay, we'll go back to Auburn, Georgia. Just wanted to see how they would do there. Okie dokie. What's the chat saying? Go Auburn. I agree. I do appreciate the amount of content you do post, especially considering the length and production value of videos. Yeah, what I realized is I can't make a ton of those, 30, 40-minute videos a week. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to just stick to a consistent schedule of, 4 to 5 in-depth game previews. I think Quick Picks as a live video will be good on Friday or Thursday. I think that's a good time to do Quick Picks. And then if I want to do a game that is more in depth of a preview than Quick Picks, I'll do like a 10, 20-minute video on that. I think that'll be a good way to get out more content, but not exhaust myself. So, an interesting note on Twitter, Nebraska scored in 343 consecutive games, the 7th longest streak in FBS history. Oh, I hope Michigan, I don't know. I like Nebraska enough to where if they got a touchdown, I wouldn't be mad. But I also like my team, getting these shutouts and that kind of stuff. If Michigan gets a shutout, I'd love that. But our backups typically, there's a big drop-off when our second and third stringers are all in the game. So I'd expect Nebraska to probably get 7, maybe get 3 just to avoid the shutout and also to say, hey, we put up points. Who knows? Really, they should already have some points. I mean, they, missed a field goal. They failed on 4th and 1 and different stuff like that. And Harburg and the team didn't do the greatest job of managing that final, drive before half. So it just is what it is. Missouri's up 24-7 over Vandy. I picked my potential power wouldn't have picked Vanderbilt to cover, but I did because a power index can't catch certain things and certain trends. But looks like I was wrong there as well. Ole Miss is already down at the inside LSU territory. They were projected to win by FPI, but LSU was favored by 3 exactly. So yeah. Okay, we're back. We are back. Okay, 3rd and 1 on entire 4th quarter remaining. They're going to run it, and he's hitting the backfield. But there's a flag. They threw a flag late, and we'll see if there's maybe something with Georgia. Unsportsmanlike, hold, face mask, or maybe it's a hold on Auburn. We'll have to see. Okay, let's see. If Auburn gets a first down here, that's big off of that penalty. Holding on the offense. The penalties decline, though, because it's a loss of 4 yards. So 4th and 5. Auburn will have to punt and rely on their defense, who've been very impressive all season long. Alrighty. So, Chapman will send it away for a punt. He's averaged 50 yards per punt right now. Georgia might come after it. And they somewhat do, but not completely. All right, that's a big punt, and he muffs it. He muffs it, but he falls on it, but it's inside the 10. Mekhi Muse muffed it, and he fell on it, luckily, but it's inside the 10. That's going to be a tough spot for Georgia's offense to start out at. Very tough spot. Now, They had a 98-yard drive for a score earlier in the third quarter. That's their most recent drive. But to ask them to do that again, that's tough. That is very tough. Cedric Van Pran, I think, is the nation's best center. I trust Georgia to still, win this game. Just looking at their better depth, it's tied. But you don't know at this point. And Auburn's defense is just stout. Bowers motions out, and it's play action. And Bowers is wide open, breaks a few tackles, and he's down at not the Auburn, the Georgia 46. That's a big gain. Big gain for Georgia. It's a gain of 37 yards. So that depth, it's coming together for Georgia. That's a big gain. Now it's a lot easier for Georgia to march down and take a lead here in this game. All right. And there's a down Auburn player. That's unfortunate. That's not what you want to see here. They're under review. It looks like there might have been a fumble. Yeah, he's down. I don't know why they ruled that a fumble. I don't know what they're reviewing here. Maybe they're reviewing something else and not a fumble. Maybe they're reviewing... I don't know what they're reviewing here, but there's something under review. Jalen Simpson's injured. Yeah, that's not a fumble. I don't know why. That's interesting. Yep. Okay, so Georgia, 1st and 10 at their own 46. They're going to hand it off to Chaz, or Cash Jones. I don't know why I said Chaz. Cash Jones. It's my bad. For about a gain of 1 or 2. And Texas is up 33-14 on Kansas. That's effectively over. Nebraska is in Michigan territory, but they are struggling still to get much of anything going. And there isn't much time left in that game. It'll probably end up being 38-7 or something. Is what that game will end up being. Carson Beck, he's back there with Dejon Edwards. 4 receivers out. Will they run? No, they pass. Edwards is used as somewhat of a safety valve. They're going deep. Incomplete. Incomplete. Targeting Brock Bowers, and there was contact between Bowers and number 5 of Auburn. But it was clean, no penalty called. It's 3rd and 9. Now, if you're Auburn, you need to get off the field. Got to get off the field here if you're Auburn. Because I don't know if Auburn's offense can score another point. Man, Georgia only has 114 rushing yards. They have 208. And then Auburn scored 8 rushing yards. But they only have 40 passing yards, Auburn does. Again, one-dimensional team. 3 seconds left on the play clock. Beck gets it off. Facing pressure, and it's caught by Bowers. Bowers now has over 100 receiving yards. He is single-handedly saving this team right here. But that's why you recruit players like that. And it was behind him. So Bowers made the adjustment. Great play. There. Play action. And another catch to Bowers. Another one-handed catch. Wow. Back does... Wow. So that was a one-handed catch by Bowers there. And now Georgia inside the Auburn 15. Illegal touching on offense, though. That's going to be brought back. It'll be second and 15. And it's on Brock Bowers, actually, is where the illegal touching is on. Alrighty. So second and 15. Second and 15 on the Auburn 30 is what will be here. And Nebraska, they were in Michigan territory on a 4th and 10. They went for it, and Josiah Stewart sack time recovered. So it's 38-0 Michigan still. They're at 50. Okay, pass out to McConkey, and McConkey only gains 4 out of the backfield, so it's going to be 3rd and 11. Another third down. If they can force Georgia to try a field goal, that's very critical. They'd prefer a sack here to get Georgia out of field goal range. I don't think they have a great kicker. I don't think they do. But I could be wrong. 3rd and 11. Jordan Air is loud. It is orange, and it is loud. 15 seconds on the play clock. 5 receivers out there, including Bowers, the tight end, for Beck. And here they go with a blitz. And he's going to be short, but it puts Georgia in a better position to take the lead with a field goal. 4th down. So Auburn gets a little bit of a break. Now it'll be a field goal. Let's see if Woodring can make the field goal here. He made one from 37 yards. This right here be a 38-yard field goal attempt. Made a 37. Let's see. Will he make it? Yes, he does. 20-17 Dogs on the road. So Georgia takes a lead in this football game. It's in fact, their first lead of the game. I think they're going to pull away here. They have 100 more yards than Auburn does. They have 3 more first downs, and all of that's with 2 turnovers. Auburn's really been capitalizing off of turnovers. Now they can win still, of course, but it'll be tough. It'll be a very tough challenge. Okay. All right, here we go. Bowling Green is leading Georgia Tech 38-20 in the... What? There's no way. There is no... That reflects poorly on like the entire ACC, if that's the case. Holy cow. How did that happen? Guess Bowling Green is an offense, but they don't have a defense. That's crazy, man. That's going to be terrible hard loss for Brent Key in that program. Again, there's a ton of things going on in my head, so I apologize if I'm getting things wrong. Michigan's 1st and 10 at the Nebraska 36. Their backups are very talented, playing pretty good football here today. Whew, wow. Also, we're only 29 subscribers away from 11,600. So that's pretty good. Need Auburn to score a touchdown on this next drive and hold Georgia to a field goal or less. Auburn would lose in I'm sure Auburn would lose in overtime because Georgia actually has a balanced offense. Auburn doesn't. And balanced offenses really begin to pull away in an overtime situation where you're guaranteed to get a field goal. This will be the second Power 5 win for Bowling Green in 3 years. Georgia Tech was looking decent as well. Yeah, I mean, like, I think what that game shows is Bowling Green has a high upside, but a very low floor. I mean, you saw this. You saw that high upside against Georgia Tech. You saw it against Michigan. Michigan's now having walk-ons in the game, by the way. Yeah. All right, here we go. So Peyton Thorne will be back on the field. His team only down by 3. So can Auburn lead their offense down the field? And knowing their running attack, if they can get down the field, if they can do it, can they chew almost the entire clock doing so? Especially with the rules. They field it. They're going to try and return this kick. And Sean Jackson returns to the 25. Peyton Thorne comes out with 10 minutes and 50 seconds remaining. And if you're Auburn, you've had success running it, but you need to you do need to pass it just a little bit as well. You have to, because Georgia can go goal line. They won't, but they can, and they will stuff you. And they will eat you alive. Just facts at this point. Okay, let's check the chat. Good kickoff return, burn some clock and do quarterback runs. Kate Ezra, that's exactly what they should do. But they're going to pass it first, and that's about a gain of 5. It's about basically the equivalent of a run, but through the air, just to keep the defense honest. Alrighty. Wow. Yeah, I'm hoping Auburn pulls off the upset. That'll give me something to react to for about 10 minutes tomorrow to get views. Also, it's just chaos. They hand it off, and there's a hole for Batty. First down, Auburn. So that's a good start. It's a very good start for Auburn there to pick up a first down. Thorne's only had 11 pass attempts, by the way. Back in comparisons at 28, and Auburn, by comparison, has had 40 carries. Auburn's running the ball nearly 80% of the time, and they're still in this game. That's the concern for Georgia here, is there are plenty of teams nationally, like Oregon, Texas, I believe, Michigan. Oh, they're going deep, and it's overthrown. But there's a flag. It's going to be holding on Tyke Smith. Tyke Smith's going to get called for holding or pass interference. And the crowd noise is shaking the camera. Yup. Pass interference on defense. That's not a good thing. Wow. Called on 23, Tyke Smith. Now Auburn is already in Georgia territory. Already there. That's the concern for Georgia, is there are better rushing attacks that also have great passing offenses, like Oregon, USC even like they don't have the defense that Auburn does, though. There are plenty of teams who I think could move the ball and score on this Georgia defense. It's not the same as the past 2 seasons, especially defending the run. Halfback toss, and he stood up. It'll be 2nd and 10. In Georgia territory, though, so Auburn can flip the field, and Michigan just scored. It's going to be 45-0. Jaden Denegal passed to Peyton O'Leary for 8 yards. Jaden Denegal for Michigan's 1 of 1 for 8 yards and a touchdown. That's Michigan's, basically third-string quarterback is Jaden Denegal. It's nice to see a recruit from the 2022 recruiting class get some time, get a touchdown pass. Robbie Ashford, pass out wide, and wow, Batty's quick. It's about a gain of 7 or 6. It's going to be 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3. It's going to be a doable 3rd down with 4th down opportunities here. Yeah, Georgia, it's like Georgia's good at defending the big play, but with these smaller plays and with these confusing looks that Hugh Freeze is giving them with like putting in Ashford and still keeping them honest with the pass. Yeah, it's 3rd and 4, at the Georgia 43. Thorne's going to pass. Easy. That's an easy gain and a broken tackle. Wow. At the Georgia 35. So now Georgia's moving the ball. Wow. So Cade Ezra, they have not been doing quarterback runs whatsoever, and they're moving. Yeah, Michigan's third stringer's got a passing touchdown. I saw that. So it's going to be 45-0, probably to close out the game, not 45-7. Absolute dominance by Michigan. I'm impressed and happy. Okay. And Batty, they call him Batty. Maybe that's how you pronounce his name. I don't know. But now they're inside the Georgia 30. So Auburn is getting closer and closer to at least field goal range. The only quarterbacks to beat Georgia since 2020 or 2019 were Joe Burrow. It's either an elite NFL quarterback or Ryan Helinski in South Carolina. It's interesting. And Peyton Thorne is definitely more of a Ryan Helinski type quarterback. Play action. He's going to go deep. And he didn't catch it. 3rd and 6. That was a nice throw by Thorne. Dalen Everett, though, on the deflection. But Thorne put it only where Fairweather could catch it. 3rd and 6 at the 28. Maybe a quarterback run? We'll just have to see. We'll have to see. Okay, Thorne's still in the game, and Thorne isn't, he isn't a runner as much as Ashford is. Georgia's going to send pressure. Thorne passes it, and it's caught. Fairweather gained about, 3 yards. It's going to be 4th and 2, 4th and 3 is what's going to happen. Yeah, so do you go for it or do you try with the field goal? If you're Auburn, you've been in this game, you can probably get it back and drive down again. Part of me would say, they're going to, with Alex McPherson, they're going to try and kick the field goal. We'll see if it goes in. So they're going to kick it. And McPherson, it's good. It's good. 20-20. So that was the right decision, I think, in retrospect. 20-20. It's tied. It's still a game. I think Michigan might be ranked number 1 even if Georgia wins this. No, the pollsters wouldn't rank Georgia 1. Well, they would if they win. But Michigan will get more first-place votes, and I think that in general people will get a sense that, hey, Michigan could actually be the number 1 team in the country. Nebraska just scored. I don't know how they scored. Joshua Fleeks ran for a 74-yard touchdown. That's how Nebraska scored. Okay, so if you're a Nebraska fan, the shutout streak the scoring streak is kept alive. If you're a Nebraska fan, it's going to be 45-7. Maybe Nebraska goes for 2 just to get some practice, but Michigan will cover. They'll win. They'll probably run out the clock. It's nice to see that Michigan once again only giving up, single digits in a game. And finally scoring 4. No, Tristan Alvano kicks the extra point. It's 45-7. Would a shutout have been nice? Yeah, but we're already winning. So, yeah. Sorry. Hummus Hero. This Georgia-Auburn game is exciting. I agree. And how are you doing, Hummus Hero? What do you think about Ohio State so far this year? We have time to talk about all these things. Also, LSU is driving in Mississippi territory. So that's good. And it looks like Texas is about to score against Kansas again, making it 40-14. So I thought it was going to be more competitive between Kansas and Texas, but I thought Jalen Daniels was going to play. Maybe that's my fault. Yep, 40-14 right now. It's crazy. California is only beating Arizona State by 3. Maryland 37. Indiana 10. And it'll probably be 40. It'll probably be 44-10. Maryland does it 4th and 1 with Indiana 14. Purdue is blowing out Illinois. It's 37-13, guys. Have you seen that? I mean, Purdue's just destroying Illinois. That's insanity. I picked Illinois to win, by the way, so that's my fault. I picked Illinois to win. That's bad. Because I said that, Brett Bielema was reliable. He likes to win these close games. But yeah, Purdue is annihilating Illinois, 37-13. Well, thanks, Sam. I think the Buckeyes have looked a bit incomplete thus far, but they still have time to round it into form before Penn State and Michigan. Yeah, I agree. Jalen Daniels was a last-minute decision. Yeah, definitely hurt Kansas, but you want him to be healthy because Kansas can probably win every other game on their schedule. They won't win all of their games, but they'll win a good amount of them. Okay, Georgia has not lost in 665 days. Will they lose here? We're certainly cheering for it, and this stadium is loud. And I mean loud. 1st and 10 at their own 25. Beck is going to try and pass and gets it to Oscar Delp. No, Cash Jones, not Oscar Delp. Baylor's trailing UCF. They're going to probably lose. Texas Tech's beating Houston. Some other games that are going on. Oregon Stanford just began. A lot of games begin at 7. And Bowling Green, they're probably going to win. They're up by 18 with 12 minutes left in the 4th. Yep, Maryland just scored 44. Beck doesn't have many people open, but he found Marcus Rosemary Jack Saint. And they're close to the 50. Wow. And that was good coverage, too. That was a good play by Beck to find a guy. In tight coverage, though, Auburn's defense has looked very impressive. And Beck has definitely improved in this second half, for sure. 20-20, remember. There's only 5 minutes left in this game. If you're Georgia, you probably want to milk the clock all the way down and come out with a win. No space for Dejon Edwards. He's brought down, but a loss of 3 or 4 yards. No space. No space whatsoever. Second and 12 at their own 45. And Georgia's just letting that clock run because, understandably so, I mean, I wouldn't have faith that Auburn can get down the field in anything less than 5 minutes. Deflected at the line by Harris. So it's 3rd and 12 for Georgia. If you're Georgia, you want to convert this, but you can probably punt it, and if you force a 3 and out, you have another chance at scoring. All right. 7 of 9 on 3rd down passing is Carson Beck. 4:18 left in the game. 9 on the play clock. A little bit of a low snap from Van Pran. Pass complete to Bowers. Now Brock Bowers has 120, 115 receiving yards. Telling you, man, that's why these players are so important is in games like this. If they don't have Brock Bowers, they probably lose by 7. And they could still lose. But with that first down, Georgia can now milk the clock, make it uncomfortable for Auburn, and force them to use some of their timeouts. Because I expect Georgia to run it here. Another Auburn player who was banged up, though, but he got up pretty quickly. And a commercial break. Okay, I am going to get a drink of water, and I'll be right back. So there's going to be an ad break here. See you guys soon. Okay. And we're back. Perfect. We're back. Sweet. And just as I say that, oh, Alabama taking the road at A&M. I'm not going to lie. I think A&M will probably win that game. They have the offense to expose a defense like Alabama's, who's great, near elite. Not exactly elite, though. Oh, holy cow. Ole Miss is up 14-0. Well, that prediction might have been wrong. UNLV's beating Hawaii. Toledo's beating Northern Illinois. Bowling Green is still up. Michigan's driving in Nebraska territory. They might score again. They may not. They may just, take the clock totally down. 3 minutes, 40 seconds. Beck is alone. He's going to try and take a quarterback draw. That's not going to work, though. It's going to be tackled for a loss. That's not completely ideal. Then again, the clock will continue to milk. And at this point, I'd say it's probably Georgia wins or it goes to overtime. Also, Michigan does have 250 rushing yards, so that's pretty cool. Just keep an update on that game. Texas beating Kansas 40-14, though Kansas will probably get a touchdown before the game's over. Oh my goodness. Georgia, touchdown. Touchdown, Georgia. Wow. No effort from the defense on tackling. That's game. Brock Bowers, 40-yard touchdown. What would they do without Brock Bowers, this offense? What would they do? Wow, that's big. That is big. Holy cow. Now Beck is over 300 passing yards. Holy cow. Well, for all of you hoping for the upset, I doubt that's happening. I hate Brock Bowers. Good luck, Auburn. You're going to need it. Yeah. Oh, they will. And I'd say if you're Auburn and you get a touchdown, you got to go for 2. Wow. And of course, there's an ad break. That's what I hate about them taking time off the games. They used it all to put into advertisements. It's ridiculous. And Michigan, Nebraska is about to end. It's going to be 45-7. Will be the final score of the game. Good game, Nebraska fans. Go Big Red. Hopefully you win the rest of your games, and but consequentially, by going 9-3 or maybe 8-4, you'd go to Indy. Although at this point, Nebraska probably loses a few more games. That was not a good performance for Nebraska. Great performance from Michigan, though. Great performance there. So 27-20, Auburn, or Georgia, my bad. Doesn't help as I'm hungry as well. Game is not over yet. Are you saying that for the Michigan game or the... I think you're saying that for the Georgia-Auburn game. Yeah. Wow. I hate that they took breaks for the ads. LSU is in Ole Miss territory. They just scored, in fact. It's going to be 14-7 Ole Miss. That's good. Kansas is going to have to go for it in Texas territory. Missouri, keeping it very defensive, 24-7 in the fourth quarter. It's going to be a win for Mizzou. They'll be 5-0. And they will be definitely... If they had Georgia at home again, that would be a game to circle. But they don't. They have to go on the road. So yeah, is what it is. Alrighty, Bowers only had two receptions for 9 yards in the first half, 7 receptions for 148 yards and a touchdown this half. That's crazy. And Georgia will kick it, and that kick will be returned. No, it'll be fair caught. So Auburn will get the ball. Oh, final 45-7 Michigan from Lincoln. And Rutgers is beating Wagner 52-3. Kansas is going to go for it. Okay, can Auburn... Can they get a touchdown? Will they be aggressive and go for 2 if they do get a touchdown? We'll just have to see. Okay, Peyton Thorne going to roll out. He's going to pass. And in and out of the hands of Brian Batty. That's not good. That would have been a first down, but instead it's dropped. And Brock Bowers is only 7. He's 7 receiving touchdowns away from tying the career receiving touchdown record in Georgia history. I guarantee you he's getting 7 receiving touchdowns. I mean, the offense runs through him. It does. He's their best player. Probably on the whole team. Okay, Auburn, Peyton Thorne's back there. 2nd and 10 at the 25. Thorne is going to pass it deep, and wow! That's a catch. By Fairweather. All right, so 1st and 10 at the Auburn 47. 2 minutes, 27 seconds left. 5 wide for Thorne. Georgia only sends 4. Thorne is going to scramble. He's going to get about a yard or 2. So clock's still moving. And Thorne is just not agile enough to escape a Georgia front 4 like that. But Georgia's front 4 hasn't exactly been getting tons and tons of pressure either. I mean, they've had 3 sacks, 6 TFLs. But with how bad Auburn's offense has been, I mean, again, Auburn's ran for so many yards. All right. Thorne behind his receiver. So it's going to be 3rd and 9 at the Auburn 48. You got to go for it here if you're Auburn, because you only have 2 timeouts with 1 minute 41 seconds left. If you had 3 timeouts, maybe you could consider punting it, but not really. All right, here we go. These 2 plays define the game, potentially. Okay. Auburn's only 2 of 11 on 3rd down conversions. And Georgia sends a blitz. It's out quick and through the hands of his receiver. So it's 4th and 9. You got to go for it here. Yeah. Well, my power rankings were correct again, I think. Georgia is going to win, but they're not going to cover. They're not going to cover that 14.5-point spread. Oh, it moved down to 14. But they still didn't cover. They pushed. So it was correct. Somewhat. Actually predicted the exact score. Really, like, not the exact score, but never mind. I'm tired and I'm hungry. I've been watching college football all day. And Auburn's going to take a timeout. Jeez, that Jackson Dart is going crazy. Is he now? Alrighty, let me see what Jackson Dart is doing. Jaden Daniels is the better quarterback. Oh, whoa. Up 21-7. This is going to be a shootout. Whoa, maybe Alabama is still really good. I almost hate that, though. I don't want Alabama to be anywhere near this year's playoff. I don't. Whew. Okay, well, in order for my LSU prediction to succeed, it looks like they're going to have to score on just about every drive. And they're going to have to get, like, a stop or two. Okay, so 4th and 9. Thorne is on the field. This is going to be an obvious passing situation. 4th and 9. Good upset bid by Auburn if this does indeed fail. Probably will. They send 4 men with a quarterback spy, and Thorne throws a pick. That's game. That's game. 27-20, picked off. At the end of the day, Auburn just did not have the balanced offense to win. They did not. But, is what it is. Wow. Malachi Starks is a good player, though. Probably the best it's either him or Cameron Kitchens that are probably the best safeties in college football. Very good player. Yeah, Starks just did the job of his receiver that he was covering and caught it for him instead. Good win for Georgia in the sense of, like, you have to win. It's a rivalry game. They might move down in my rankings, though, but I don't think so. They're at 4 already, that's pretty low for them. Georgia's just going to take a knee here, and that's game. So thank you all for tuning in. Thank you very much for doing so. I encourage you to like the video if you haven't already, and also subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell so you can get notified when I produce more college football content, when I do more lives like this. So thank you very much, guys. Game over, says Kate Ezra. Georgia always does this. I'm sick of this. Auburn, they're going to face Ole Miss. I'll say this. They host Ole Miss. Ole Miss might have the balanced offense along with a good enough defense to maybe beat this team, even though it's on the road. But I think Georgia's going to be the team that goes 13-0, gets to the playoffs, and probably gets smacked in the playoffs. I could be wrong, though. That's what I predicted in the preseason. It looks like that's going to be the case. So have a great day, guys. You'll get reaction videos from me tomorrow and Monday, and then we'll have the normal slew of preview and prediction games for Week 6. Have a fantastic day, and have a blessed weekend. And if your team is yet to play, hopefully they win. Bye-bye.